Well, it's unfortunately time for everybody's least favorite night here at Zero Gravity Gaming. I am MXL,
I'm
Squad
Squad
Fam,
Fam.
Squad Family, according to Convoster.
Oh,
It's gonna be a night to
it,
remember at the very least. We've got unfortunately a few teams already eliminated from contention, but it's Gauntlet night, baby. How we doing tonight, Phil?
we're doing all right. And producer, can you get some somber like piano key music ready? It's gonna be
Yeah,
downstairs. I'm just letting you know.
forgot to
Thank
coordinate
you,
that.
thank you. I'm doing all right. I wish my squad, was third instead of fourth, but here we are. We're third, or no, fourth. So I'm up late. I'm nervous. I'm sure the players are. So you want to go and look at last week's results real quick?
Yeah, I did want to touch on, of course, we do this every week, just some of the games that we saw come through during last week's final, well, games of the regular season. Some interesting results to come through, realistically. I was not expecting a lot of these, but nonetheless, um, we we'll start with I believe it was the Aether schedule I was planning on starting with. It's scuffed. We're fine. We're pulling back the curtain. Plan this shit 10 minutes in advance. Cloud Gaming Fools, Team Ambition Evolution, CGF taking the 2-0, remaining undefeated, and actually knocking TA Evolution down to third place in the group. So, pretty big win, I would say there. Only
Yeah,
14 in
surgery.
one game record.
Yeah, CGF, we faced them in AGL, and I think they made a change recently to that roster. It went from being, in the qualifiers of AGL, they went to the semifinals. I don't know, they might be in the finals. I honestly stopped keeping up with AGL. Other things to keep up with, but that is a roster that's pulled out of nowhere. Kills has put together a really strong squad there.
Yeah, I mean, Fury was mentioning this. He wasn't really sold on Clown, and this was back in week 1. He said this. They swept through the group, right? Literally 7-0, 14-1. I meant to double check what team they even dropped the game to. It was actually RAR, funnily enough, who is in our first game of that gauntlet tonight. But they've looked unstoppable. They've looked really, really strong, and nothing short of that in this series. So kind of an expected result, but maintaining that top of the table status. They're a force to be reckoned with in this playoffs for sure, yeah?
Oh, big force. That's
Yeah.
all you're getting out of me. That they're just strong. I mean, top to bottom, strong squad. There's you got your classic, gold low elo. Like, you do not give feathers an Alawi angle or an Urgot angle, and I think too many teams have been given over those Alawi angles and those Urgot angles.
Yeah.
And someone just needs to open up this tab that's called it's the gold match results tab, and scroll up. And you will find that if you give feathers and fur, Alawi or Urgot, it doesn't go well.
We will have to see how that plays out. Of course, both teams have a week off going into playoffs, as they don't have to play in the gauntlet. But next up, we saw Revolution De-Evolution picking up their second win of the season against RAR, actually bumping them ahead of RAR in the standings as well. Every metric tied, but that head-to-head so crucial. Rev taking the 2-1. They're the second matchup tonight. They seem pretty good. They seem like they're on a roll.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to win series. If here's the thing, if you don't lose a game from here on out, you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
I guess if I open a tab on my computer, my camera hates it. So I'm just checking who I'm looking at. I mean, you got Downfall on that roster coming up from IBS. He's been complaining in the BOL chat about top lane being boring.
It is.
It is, but I guess he's king of the snooze fest sometimes. So it should be interesting to see them. Second game, I'm casting it. So they're getting the scuff stream,
Yeah, as a reminder, I did just put out that announcement as well, but the SL Twitch channel will be broadcasting the other gauntlet that we are not covering tonight over here on ZGG. Shoutouts to Shining Light for that. Speaking of Shining Light, they took down TD Aftermath last week in 2-0 fashion, forcing TD to stay in our first matchup of the gauntlet. securing themselves at the top of it. Uh, what ended up happening here, Phil?
Um, so my buddy Banana Soul never played comp before. I'm pretty sure that was his first comp win. Um, so he's elated over the moon right now. He was really nervous about the team, and then he just went and he put on a top lane clinic. Vaughn, absolute prowess in the jungle. So these guys, they've regrouped halfway through the season, and they've been like, this is a full player led team. These guys are doing it all themselves. They're super invested, they're meeting about drafts and like theorizing constantly, throwing stuff back and forth. It's just a pleasure to watch them recently. Yeah. And so we'll see them in the last game of the Aether Gauntlet, and then we'll see TD in the first game of the Aether Gauntlet.
Yeah, and I mean, winning in 2-0 fashion kind of might be a sign for later tonight. Knock on wood there. I don't want to jinx anything, of course, but that does bring us to our final series from last week in the Aether Division. Conduit Esports goes taking the 2-1 victory over SNC Grumpy Bears, and unfortunately, it's the last time we're going to see SNC, but they end with a win in that series against Conduit, who's second in the group, so pretty good series from them, all things considered.
What?
I'm
sorry, I heard something. Yeah, no, it was it's sad to see, Grumpy Bears go out in a loss. I think the general vibe is Snack Bears just a fun org. They're just, great people. Every time I've had a series against an SNC team, Juice has reached out, just some chit chat about it. Great guy. So, it's sad to see them go out. Hopefully next year they have, this nice stronger showing. At least, they went out with a game win, especially against such a strong team.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I mentioned, they will not be playing in the Gauntlet tonight. Ended in that 8th place, and Gauntlet just 4 through 7 this season. So, Snack Bears, honestly, I fucking love y'all. You guys are great. I am unfortunately going to miss seeing you here this season. Hopefully, we do see you coming back next season, because damn, it's always great to root for those underdog teams, and I think you're one of the teams I'm always a fan of. So, it's going to be interesting. I do hope to see you guys return, but we will now push onward. Astral Division happened as well last week. Startup Gaming Lambda 2-1 over Revolution Reimagined. Big series, I think, there. And yeah, DGL wins it. They locked themselves into first seed in the group. But Rev taking a game, that's pretty concerning.
Yeah. At the start of the season, DG Lambda was just a force, just in general, just stomping the Rift. And so it's very, it is, concerning to see them dropping a game to Rev of all teams. But hey, maybe Rev Reimagined is surging now, and maybe this is their angle. They've got a shot in the Gauntlet tonight. See how it goes,
Yeah, I always root for Rev teams. I actually really like this Reimagined team as well. Their roster just is like so fun and wholesome, and I love them. But we'll see. We'll get into the matchups tonight, of course. But NSG Amethyst take the 2-0 over Shining Light Guardians as well. NSG now locking themselves into 4th with that win. Pretty big. It means they are the final boss of the Gauntlet here in the Astral Division tonight.
Yeah. We'll talk more about Guardians later on. That roster has had some issues, but they stuck it out one last game. Wasn't the best showing for many of our players, but Amethyst, they won, and they won very convincingly. And it's one of those wins, especially it's on Monday. It's so close to Gauntlet. Hopefully, that can spur a squad to get a nice 2-0 like that.
Yeah. I mean, and they only have to win one game tonight, right? So we'll have to keep our eyes on that for sure. Tenebris Esports Eternity, Conduit Esports Kraken. Tenebris taking the 2-1 victory and making the top 3 in this group all 6-1. Absolute mess. You guys are awful, and I hate you for doing this to me. But pretty big win for TEE. They actually bump Going Ghost down and take 2nd for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I think between 2nd and 3rd, the difference is just side select. in that series. But I mean, again, it is a mess at the top with in the Astral division. You've got those three teams. They've taken games off of each other, taken series off of each other. Coming in 6-1, 6-1, 6-1 match records, 13-4, 13-5, 12-4. Very tight race. And I'm gonna expose myself and realize that, I forgot which way we went on playoff seeding. I'm sure if Doki's in the chat, he'll be happy to tell me which way playoff seeding is and how badly we screwed it up. But because obviously, like IBS, it's very clear and straightforward.
Yeah.
But
it's funky when you get groups involved for sure.
yeah,
I'm excited to see what's going to happen. These top three, like you mentioned, so close. They each kind of circling the games around each other, right? So it'll be interesting to witness what's going to end up happening. Toronto actually only getting that tiebreaker for first off of a single extra game win, or in the case of Tenebris, they have one less loss than Tenebris, and that's it. Like that was the tiebreaker. So really tight knit top of the table. Thank you, DGL, for that, because if that was tied and it was a three-way tie, it would have been a mess. So, thank you. Really appreciate that. But, next up, I lost my... Oh, Going Ghost ODZ. That's what it was. Going Ghost taking the 2-0 victory against Off the Za, locking themselves in at 6-1, third place for themselves. So, pretty big.
Yeah. ODZ, one that I hadn't really looked too hard into because obviously Guardian's game against them was a forfeit. Boosting Guardian's record, they needed it.
Wow.
they started off 2-0. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see them on stream tonight. Going through Gauntlet, you get 5 players there. Who knows? Because I know that they've, at least back in week 2, they were having some issues with getting the roster in the game. So, you got your team in the game, anything can happen.
Yeah, and of note, I did want to touch on this. We talked a little bit about the standings here. Dorado Gaming, Tenebris Esports, Eternity, Going Ghost, all 6-1, top 3 seeds, no question. Last week kind of didn't change that, I don't think. There was a world where it could have changed. NSG Amethyst, Conduit Esports, Kraken, both 3-4, ending 4th and 5th respectively. Shining Light Guardians 2-5, ending 6th. ODZ 1-6 for 7th, and Rev Reimagined 1-6 for 8th. And if you'll recall, we talked about how in the other group, SNC was not going to be participating in the Gauntlet due to being seeded 8th place. Shining Light Guardians has actually rescinded or removed themselves from.
Yeah.
Yes, that's honestly such a better word.
You got it, MXL.
I was there. They have withdrawn themselves from the Gauntlet, so ODZ, Revolution, Reimagined both being bumped up, so ODZ will be considered the 6th seed for tonight's games, Rev Reimagined the 7th. With that said, Phil, I'll let you have your time.
No, I think you go first here.
What do you mean I go first?
All right, fine. So, can we roll the somber music, please? That I gently requested earlier. Let me know when it's going. I actually don't have the audio of the stream going at all. Is it ready? All right. So, we're here today to mourn the losses of Shining Light Guardians, who we have to bid adieu to this season. This is their short eulogy. They stuck it out. I would give them that. They were entered in 2 leagues, and things just didn't click at the start. And I really just wanted to do this segment for the simple thing of Macro, the top laner, has repeatedly, after we tried to revamp the roster around DT and Macro, and then DT ended up getting a class schedule that prevented him from being able to do like any leagues. So, with DT out, Macro was the last remaining member. And so he kept telling me, like, you got to cut me. You got to cut me. And I'm like, why? Why do you want me to kick you off this team? And he goes, well, we need the Bud Light ace. So you know what, Macro? We're moving you for the team. Here's the Bud Light ace. Cheers.
That was the bit. He didn't tell me about this. He did not tell me about this. He actually asked me.
I had to buy a 6-pack of this crap beer. Okay. Because they didn't sell it in singles.
Wow. All right. It's going to be one of those kind of nights. I mean, honestly, I've been honest. I'm a little sad to see them go. I was actually kind of rooting them on. I thought they were one of the dark horse teams to come into this group, but like you mentioned, just did not work out. But that will push us forward now to talking about the games. And we'll start with the Shining Light streamed games tonight, as well, they're going to be less
You're not
fun than
gonna
ours.
say Snack Bears?
Well,
Everybody's favorite little
I already
roster?
did. I
Oh, you
started.
did. Okay,
I
that was
did it
that was the
earlier.
worst eulogy I've ever seen.
I am really shit at eulogies. Listen, it's fine. But we do want to touch on, of course, commiserations to both SNC Grumpy Bears and
Shining Light
Shining Light
Guardians.
Guardians. I
Thank
always
you guys
forget
for
which
participating.
Shining Light teams. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, it sucks to see you guys go. It was awesome having you, and we do hope to see you guys make a return to ZGG next season. But tonight's action, we got some Gauntlet games. For those of you who don't know how the Gauntlet works,
I don't
play
either.
a best of one, 6th seed versus 7th seed. The winner moves on to face the 5th seed. The winner moves on to face the 4th seed. If you lose any of these best of ones tonight, you are eliminated. There is no coming back. It is one and done. What that means is it's a really, really, really stressful night for everybody that takes part. We're going to start with
But
the Aether schedule.
it's really, really, really exciting if you're a fan of do or die moments.
Yes, and it's really exciting as a caster. But we're going to start with the Aether schedule. TD Aftermath versus RAR will be the first matchup of the night over on Shining Light's Twitch channel.
Yeah,
Followed by the winner of that taking on Revolution De-Evolution, and the victor of that taking on the final boss, Shining Light Sentinel. So we'll start from the bottom. TD Aftermath RAR. What the hell's going on?
I actually played in the game against RAR. And I'm just gonna double check that the roster's not changed considerably. It is actually very similar on the sheet, at least. This game I think comes down to Usain. When I played against Usain, he hadn't really found his angle in the team. I think if Usain finds his angle and finds where he wants to be, he could easily 1v9. But if he doesn't 1v9, RAR really is without a paddle. I think there's a lot of consistency across the roster in terms of what you can expect, but I think Usain he's a winner or a loser in this game. And so that will be exciting to watch. And then on the other side, TD rosters and they've got their IBS rosters are currently all top of the leagues in whatever league they're in. And their gold roster is kind of on the about face of that. Yeah. So Usain isn't eligible to play. Okay, man, that tells you how great of an admin I am.
Yeah, well, just ignore Phil. It's fine.
Yeah,
I do
fine.
need
Go
to push
next.
this along, though. Revolution De-Evolution. Where do we think the victor of the last matchup is going to stack up against this? Do we think it's going to be close? Is Rev going to hold up? Like, what's happening here?
Rev Dev v Sentinels in the last game of Gauntlet goes to 45 minutes.
Okay.
That's my call. We'll just speed run it.
So, I mean, I have to ask you, and I feel like I'm going to know your answer, but either division, TD Aftermath, RAR, Revolution De-Evolution, Shining Light Sentinels, which one team is making it to playoffs?
I mean, it's got to be Sentinels for me. I think this team has consistently looked extremely strong. Dropping some, unfortunate games, but it's a team peaking at the right point. Is what I see. But with Rev Dev, that's a strong squad. It should be a great match, and it should be a great match to end the night on. If that comes about and that ends up being the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm actually gonna circumvent that a little bit. I'm pulling for Rev. I think they got it. I think they can take it. I kind of agree with you. That's going to be the last matchup of the night, regardless. But I don't know. Something just feels like it's right for Rev tonight. Maybe the stars align. Maybe it's their shot to get into playoffs. Would be a pretty big win for them to get there. We're going to flip over now to the Astral Division, the games that will be featured on ZGG here tonight. Revolution Reimagined off the ZA. First matchup of the night. Rev getting in off of that withdrawal. I mean, pretty big for them, I'd say. But winner faces Conduit Kraken, and the winner of that matchup will face NSG Amethyst for the last spot in playoffs. We'll start from the top again. Revolution Reimagined, ODZ, what's happening?
ODZ. I think at ODZ has they're a very skilled squad. And if there's ever a time to put it all together and make it happen, it's tonight. So it's straight up do or die. So
All right.
yeah.
I'm gonna just jump in here real quick. Shang, you can find me all you want for this. Fuck that shit, man. Rev has been looking so strong recently. They added a new mid laner, looked really comfortable in the role, took down NSG Amethyst, who's the final boss of the Gauntlet tonight. You now see them taking a game off Dorado Gaming Lambda, the first place team in this goddamn group. And you're telling me ODZ is gonna win? No shot. Rev Reimagined actually wins out this gauntlet. I'm calling it right now. They go from 8th. They go from being in off of that withdrawal into playoffs. That's my take, and we are sticking to it.
Oh, I honestly was either way on this, but we talked in pre-show about how much you like the Rev roster, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna set them up. I'm gonna set them up perfectly to come in like a wrecking ball here.
Hate you, Phil. Hate you.
I know you do.
With that said, I do want to touch on some of the other teams here. We touched on those two in particular. I'm sticking to it. I think Rev gets out of this tonight. But Conduit Kraken, NSG Amethyst, where are you looking? Who do you think's coming out of this group on top?
I think NSG Amethyst is having to face up against a team that's going to be, off of a win or 2 wins. I think it's a tough spot to be in. I think the winner of that second game is going to take it. So I think if it is, except if it's ODZ. I don't think they make it that far. But I think, if it's Conduit or Rev, I think both of them go through. Whichever one comes out of that second game alive, one that makes it. But if it's ODZ, I give it to Amethyst.
All right, we will have to see. I am beyond excited to witness both gauntlets tonight. Of course, as a reminder, here on Zero Gravity Gaming 1, we will be covering the Gold Astral Division Gauntlet.
And
Shining
over
Light
on
Esports?
Shining Light Esports, we're going to have a scuffed cast of a bunch of guys chilling and watching some League of Legends of the other side of the gauntlet.
Yeah, very excited to watch what's going to end up happening across both these divisions. We have, 8 teams playing tonight? 2 will be here as of tomorrow. Dorado Gaming Lambda, Tenebris Esports Eternity, Going Ghost, awaiting to see who's joining them alongside Clown Gaming Fools, Conduit Esports Ghost, and Team Ambition Evolution. 8 teams enter tonight, 2 walk away. Very stressful night to say the least. But with that said, that's going to do it for me and Phil. It's going to be a banger. Shinkari and Comboster will be breaking down tonight's gauntlet action in the Astral Division for you. I don't know who Squad Fam's casting with, but you'll see over
67,
there.
he's an
Perfect.
Urgot one-trick top lane masters. He'll just be
Yeah.
like, yo, these guys should have just picked Urgot.
But be sure to tune into both sides. It's going to be one hell of a night here at Zero Gravity Gaming. Stay tuned. It's going to be ridiculous to see what happens.
All right, cheers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Link, the Legend of Hyrule, and I am ready to cast this game of League of Legends. I'm super excited. I'm surprised that I got Wi-Fi coming from out of here. Must be coming out of the Halls of Resurrection over there. But I am ready to get this gauntlet underway. I am excited. Comboster, are you ready? Yeah. They said Mike's muted on stream. They said in chat that we're muted.
There we go. Better? Can we hear?
Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Which means they missed the bit. So hello.
Good. No.
My name is Link, the Legend of Hyrule.
God damn
Hello.
it.
You can tell that I have saved the day. Hello.
Jesus
I'm here to
Christ.
also save your night, as I'm here to cast League of Legends. I am excited for the gauntlet tonight. A whole bunch of best of ones, and only one shall
hate life.
stand. Like me, by myself, out here.
Yeah, what
Whoa.
he said. Yeah. So anyway, Gauntlet night. Woo. I'm personally voting for Amethyst. I know that they're the final boss. They're the ones at the top, but honestly, they're the ones that have shown most of their prowess. Honestly, they're a really solid team, and I can't see them honestly losing, especially when they have a lot of time to prepare and kind of scout the teams that are winning.
Yeah, I think I'll join on that bandwagon too. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to really like I've seen a lot of our gauntlets play out, and I feel like a lot of times it's like, oh man, this team looks really good, and sometimes we have folks that go all the way from the bottom just to lose to the team at the top.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we get into these coin flippy kind of things with these best of ones, especially here in the Gold League. You know, and it's gonna be a time to really prove yourself, right? Because sometimes a lot of these better teams will win the best of one. You know, from the
yeah. And like, well, that's the thing. At the end of the day, this is a best of one, so you can kind of, I don't want to say cheese your way into that victory, but you definitely have to be careful with how you decide your comp. You can't. This is the type of games where you can go very Hail Mary comps, because it is a best of one. So if you have a very gimmicky team comp, something that you've been hiding in the back pocket, then this is the place to do it. Honestly, risking it in these types of situations, it's more worth than in a best of 3. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see some great comps, some crazy comps, and right now, we're banning all the crazy champions. We see a Lilia, Silas, Talia, Swain, Hecarim, all of those bans. I approve of them. I don't want to see them in my games, and of course we have the Misfortune, which it just hurts to play against. It just hurts to play against.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just taking the Misfortune and the Hecarim off the table here are two kind of big champions that can explode your game if not taken care of. So, you know, those are a couple of champions that are definitely good to pick here. So with Revolution Reimagined here, first picking the Seraphine means that we do have a couple of some flexible picks here ready to go. But, you know, I do think that this is a relatively safe pick early on. But I agree with you. This is the time to break out your top lane Singed, your Yorick split push, the thing that the curveball that your opponents have not been prepared for. And maybe that is that's Samira and Nautilus.
Man, okay, let's talk about Hail Mary. Okay, I mean that's still pretty good, don't get me wrong. I mean, Renata and Samira is such a deadly duo, because it's not only that Samira, once she gets ahead, she just becomes like an 80 Katarina that just destroys everybody. She has a wind wall. Her 80 on melee range just scales super well. and you just build a Bloodthirster on her, you just build Collector on her, and then she just starts taking bodies. To top it all off, Renata just loves helping out targets that want to go in the middle of the fray and want to delete your opponents. She has the handshake, of course, for the stun, but she also has the bailout. And then most importantly, a lot of people forget about this, but they also have the passive, which is that once she auto attacks an enemy champion, if your ally also hits that champion, you take an additional damage. And a lot of people don't really know that, and that comes in clutch in a lot of 2v2 scenarios, especially once you focus the same target.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in these duo situations, especially with someone as high damage as Samira, who's encouraged to kind of dive in, a lot of those things that you've highlighted make Samira that much more deadly to deal with. So Revolution Reimagined here are going to answer with the Bel'Veth and the Ashe here. Ashe, a really good pairing with the Seraphine here, allows Seraphine to have access to that snare on her E without actually having to double cast it, so she can save the double cast for the heal, for the double damage. But yeah, this is definitely a really potent combo here. And Bel'Veth, you know, when you lock in an Ashe, you know, the question becomes, where is your damage? You know, where's the beef? And here comes Bel'Veth right here. That is going to be your damage right there. It's a real good amount of damage. It's snowballing as well too. So once Bel'Veth gets ahead, she becomes unstoppable in a lot of different ways.
So here's my gripe with this comp right now. Bel'Veth is a very good scaling champion. Ashe is just an overall great champion. But you have but you picked it into Samira and Renata. We didn't know about the Victor. And this is the problem. You're picking very squishy targets. At least in the early game, Bel'Veth is pretty squishy. In the late game, I guess she can scale a little bit of HP, but she's usually not known for her durability. She's mostly known for how fast she can pop a target and the resets that she gets. Samira and Renata are gonna have a field day in the bot lane. If Samira gets a little bit ahead, the poke from Seraphine and Ashe is not going to be dangerous enough to push her back. One good engage from this bot lane, if the jungler decides to gank bot lane, of course, and the jungler has definitely good CC, Samira can just become unstoppable, out of control. I can already predict it. I smell it right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Bel'Veth does need a little bit of time to get off the ground, right? Like you said, she's squishy, and although she gets those resets later, Jarvan is definitely a real good hover here, especially with the Samira as well. But yeah, Bel'Veth does need some time in order to get to that state where she is, you know, like you said, you know, really, really good at scaling, really good at popping a lot of these squishy targets. And based on what Off-Dazah have already drafted here, this does look like a good comp for Bel'Veth to come in here and just run rampant. But here is the answer right here. Maokai getting a little bit better, getting a bunch of adjustments recently, going to make him just a little bit better in that top lane, and a whole lot of CC in order to mess with this opposing team a whole lot more.
Yeah, and I mean, Maokai is definitely the tank, the front lane that you needed. Maokai, very good buffs to make him just a little bit tankier that he needed to be. Had nerfed on the saplings is always good because those saplings were super annoying. But now he's more defined as your token frontline top laner. So I love this pick from the Maokai. Great engage, great ultimate for the follow-ups, especially to follow it up with an Ashe arrow or a Seraphine ultimate. And then finally, to top it off, we have a Nico mid. Now this is very interesting because you have a lot of AP from the team already. I know that Bel'Veth is technically true damage and AD, but I mean, it could work. I'm not gonna discard it. It's just that as a mid laner that has played a lot of Nico is the peak of Nico is mid game, and then once the opponent starts to get 2 items, 3 items, you start to see Nico fall off, and she becomes more of a utility character rather than a burst damage character. And we'll see. Right now, for the side of Revolution Reimagined, we have really good utility because we have tons of CC. We have Ashe, we have Seraphine, we have Maokai, we have Nico. Bel'Veth is gonna get knocked up city if she goes for the follow-ups. And then they have a really good front laner. Yeah, they have a really good front line. Don't forget to join the new lobby, by the way.
Ah,
And then, but
Okay.
then for the
Yep.
side of Off the Saw, my god, I mean, Off the Saw has Samira and Glass, which is already a very, very solid bot lane. We have Victor mid, which it's an insta ban for me, but Victor can struggle a little bit against the Nico, so that's a good counter pick. But then we have Jarvan Cho'Gath, not only really good front lines, but Jarvan has one of the best engages right now. And then Cho'Gath is going to become a problem whether you win or lose lane, because you're always going to be tanky. And the only character that can really blow you up is Bel'Veth the jungler. That's it,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, not to mention he's in a pretty safe lane as well. Maokai is not exactly known for dueling power, right? He does have some things in his kit that do deal a decent chunk of damage, but he's no, Ornn or Tahm Kench, these kind of tanky characters that just scale off a lot of their defensive stats. So Maokai, even though will be a nuisance to Cho'Gath and, might be good for setting up Bel'Veth, Cho'Gath is in a relatively safe lane up in the top lane, and that's exactly what Cho'Gath wants. Cho'Gath wants an easy 1-5, right? And then level 6, start munching on all the minions, right? Get as much as the minion stacks out of the way as possible so that he can start chewing on champions. And that's really where we're going to see Cho'Gath pop off here. I think that's really possible here. There's not a lot of in Revolution Reimagined's kit here that's really going to be able to stop just a big, beefy HP frontline.
Here's the conundrum for the jungler of Revolution Reimagined. You want to gank your top laner because, like we said, Cho'Gath in the early games is very weak. And even though Maokai is not a great 1v1 character, he is a fantastic 2v2 character. Because he has a lot of CC, he has a lot of slows, he has a snare that makes him untangible, so he can be very slippery as well. And he just gets health from his passive as well. It's just overall a really good character. And honestly, you want to follow it up with Bel'Veth, but ganking top lane means that you're leaving bot lane, vulnerable to the ganks from this Jarvan. Jarvan that has a really good knock-up that can be followed up with the handshake, or can be followed up by the Samira, shoot him up in the air to extend the timing for the stun. And then if Samira gets 1 kill, if Samira gets 2 kills, it's just going to snowball into 4 kills, into a teamfight win, into a collector, into a shield bow, into a bloodthirster. And then, you blink and then you have just a Samira that's just out of control in the bot lane. So now you just have to balance whether you want to gank top lane and have Jarvan make Samira a problem, or kind of try to counter gank the bot lane to cancel out this Jarvan, but have this Cho'Gath become a problem. It seems like Revolution Reimagined's build is very reactionary based, and against such a proactive team composition such as the one of the Saw, you're not in for a really good time.
I mean, that's kind of what you want against a proactive team, right? Being able to answer a lot of the things that your opponent is going to throw at you, right? In this scenario that you've kind of demonstrated here, where Samira is able to pop off, get through the entire enemy team, and get a bunch of damage, there's not a character on Revolution Reimagined that really has a hard time peeling Samira off. Like, everyone has something, right? Obviously, Ashe has to use her ultimate in this scenario, but, like, it's on such a low cooldown, and stunning the AD carry is still good anyway, right? And it's not like there's a whole lot of DPS on the team outside of Samira, right? I think Samira is, like, the biggest threat on the enemy team, so even laying down CC onto her is still relatively good here. And I also don't want to take away from, like, the proactiveness that Revolution Reimagined also has, right? I feel like even with Nature's Grasp, with Plum Blossom, with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, with the big charm, there's a lot of proactive things that Revolution Reimagined here can do that Samira can really only stop one, right? Like, Samira does have her block, and that's something you can bring up when you're talking about some of these initiation tools, but really can only stop 1 or 2 things here, right? 1 CC onto Samira means that the rest of the team can pile on. It's pretty easy for Nico to do that, for Bel'Veth to do that, for Maokai to do that, right? So there, even though Revolution Reimagined seems a little reactive here, I definitely do think that they have windows here to really pop off. It's just really the carry of this team is going to be Sir Jackson on Melbeth. We're really going to have to pay attention to this jungle early on. Because like you said, you know, there's not really a good lane to gank here. Victor can really easily kite Bel'Veth early. Samira Renata is going to be really hard to gank, but it's probably easy considering they have like Seraphine and Ashe, but they've got to be on their toes. And then Cho'Gath is possibly like another easy gank up in the top lane, but you know, Maokai is not going to have an easy time up there to help you out with those. If you know, he's not able to sustain through all the damage that Cho'Gath is able to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just gonna throw it over to our Pro Comps post-draft. Again, thank you very much for Pro Comps to give us a little bit more insight into the comps that we were talking about. And as you can see, we're playing Protect against Engage. And I mean, on paper, right, through Pro Comps, it's telling you that these two teams are going to scale equilaterally. That worries me a little bit, because that just means that the team that gets ahead first is the one that's going to pop off. Now, if you're playing an Engage against a Protect comps do better as a team. Meanwhile, Engage teams can do well as long as they're the ones who are initiating the fight. So, as much as it is painful to say this, this is just gonna come down to a skill matchup. This is just gonna come down to the better team. And I don't mean to say that in terms of being just very vague about everything. This honestly just comes down to how good the synergy for Optasa is compared to how good at staying safe Revolution Reimagined is, as well as what objectives they take. Because remember, Optasa can take 2 dragons, but because you have a Bel'Veth in your team, 2 Heralds is way better than 2 Barons. Not only for the gold that you get, but also for the passive that you get as well. It's gonna be a close match, but I'm still gonna put I'm gonna place my bets on Optasa. I think that their team composition is good, because even if Samira doesn't pop off, you still have a Victor. And Victor is not based on how many kills he gets, it's just how good his farm is. And you also have a Cho'Gath, which he can become a problem, and if he becomes too tanky, sure, you can focus to Samira all you want, but you still have a Cho'Gath going into your back line and dealing like 1200 true damage to your main damage dealer. Whether that's the Nico, whether that's the Ashe, whether that's the Bel'Veth. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it to Revolution Reimagined here. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. I honestly think Revolution Reimagined has a much more flexible team composition here and can be reactive or proactive, and I think that's really important to these best of ones, of being able to adapt to whatever curveball your opponent throws at you, and I think that's what they've got here right. I think that's what they've gotten right here. But we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift of game number 1 of the Gauntlet. Revolution Reimagined versus Optasa. Don't go anywhere. This is the beginning of the Gauntlet. It's real important. You don't want to miss a single game. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari, and if you're seeing this game, I've already progressed. We had a bit of an issue in between games here, so we're 2 minutes in. No first blood has been spilled just yet, but here we are on the Rift with the first game of the Gauntlet. Off the Za, up against Revolution Reimagined here. And yeah, we got two really great team comps ready to go. Come, Boster, are you ready?
I am ready, and I am also very thankful. You know, it's not too often when the teams are just very considerate as to not kill each other in the 10 minutes. And as soon as I say that, I mean, we see Sir Jackson coming in for a really good gank and getting the first blood, managed to capture it live here. So, you know what? Again, thank you very much, guys, for being very considerate. Could have done it without you. And yeah, I mean, this is a great first kill for a Velvet. Not only you get the first blood kill, not only you get the extra XP, but you also get that passive that gives you a little bit more attack speed. That's gonna help a lot, especially later on into the late game.
Yeah, that is going to be a definitely a good bit of boon for them, especially as they go to gank some of these lanes as well. I don't think Cho'Gath was even expecting it either. You can take a look at the map, and Belveth is right now clearing her blue. So that's going to be her probably making her way down to the bot lane here by going blue wolves Krugs. But here comes Jarvan into the bot lane here. Ash is in some trouble, gonna have to flash, but doesn't go over the wall here, so still might be in some trouble trying to get that handshake over the wall, but still can't get it. Gumbers keeps resetting their auto attack here, but the exhaust is gonna keep them underneath the turf for just a little bit longer. They are still looking for the kill onto Ash here. Hopefully they would have walked a little bit farther back, but not able to pick up the first blood this time around, but get a couple summoner spells for their trouble.
What I will tell the viewers right now is that this is going to be some of the most solo queue gameplay you're going to see. Because again, this is a first of one. You want to go for the risky plays. You want to go for the early ganks. You want to go for the invades. Especially, look, back-to-back just ganks from the side of Gumbers, forcing the flash out of the Nico. She does have TP in order to come back. But again, this is what we're talking about. You want to go for those risky plays because any lead is a good lead in these games.
Yeah, you don't have a game 2 to catch up from where you left off in game number 1 here. This is it. You know, this is how it comes down. So this is, if you got to pull out all the stops, there's nothing to save. There's no cards to hold up to your chest. It's just good old-fashioned brawling here, like best of one here in best of ones in the Gauntlet. So you cannot let a single thing go.
That's right. And as right now as we see, and now Sir Jackson hovering over to the bot lane. We're going to expect the gank probably let the wave push back for Valiant FD. If Sir Jackson didn't get the kill earlier, actually Sir Jackson hasn't gotten any items yet, so I doubt this is going to be a successful gank. If I saw them with a Noon Quiver or something crazy like that, I would definitely say that this is going to be a successful gank. Right now, I think you're just giving a chance for Gumbers to catch up a little bit in CS and everything.
I think the only problem to me is Sir Jackson was already kind of spotted out by the ward over by the Krugs there. But judging by the fact that that they needed to ward right there, I'm not sure if they saw it. But who knows? They knew Belveth was at least in the area, so they were not pushing up. They were hugging the turret for as long as they could. So yeah, this is definitely a good place. Gonna back up, find that that Noon Quiver for themselves. That's already a whole lot of damage on the Belveth as they're returning the lane here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Velvet's power spikes come mostly from her Kraken Slayer and Bork, or it comes from whether she gets the Herald or not. And right now, if I am Gumbers, I definitely want to take objectives and just have a really good timer presence when it comes to the jungle.
Yeah, for sure. As now, we take a look at the top lane, and this is not exactly going as we expected here. We definitely saw a lot of bullying from Zkobe kind of early on here, but this is like a season 2 matchup only. If only it was in the jungle. Only it was in the jungle.
Yeah.
Then it would be a true season 2. Then it would be a true season 2 matchup here.
I don't miss Maokai jungle, especially season 3 or 4 Maokai before the rework. That was not a fun character to fight.
He also just put a circle down that just made everyone take reduced damage while they were in it. It was just like so much damage mitigation. It was just impossible to deal with.
Yeah, don't want to go back to that, but I also want to go back into the mid lane to see Gumbers try to go for another gank, unsuccessful.
Ooh, wait, here's a Jarvan stunned up inside the gravity, inside the Chaos Storm, but not going to be able to find the kill. Bot lane, Bali isn't going to be up. That's going to be the flash as well, but now Banks is trying to turn it around on a Nifty here, actually doing a whole bunch of damage. Might be able to catch up if they're close, but still not quite good, close enough. Nifty is going to be able to get away from that down in the bot lane.
Insane, but now look, like, great job. I was going to say that Bali was going to have a little bit of sustain, but I just realized they have a long
Wait a minute,
sword.
Nifty has to flash away here. Bali jumping in here, gonna throw out the spin, gonna try to win, but here comes Sir Jackson in. Bali has to make a move now. That's gonna be the handshake, keeping them alive for just a little bit longer, but Bali is going to go down for a double kill for the Bel'Veth. Put him 4-0 on the scoreboard. Holy moly.
Okay, this is crazy. Bel'Veth is level 6, and she has 4 kills. I just want to know how many stacks you have, Bel'Veth. She has...
Let's take a look.
Yeah, can you tell me, please?
That is 18. 18 stacks.
18 stacks. That is a lot of attacks with, especially this early into the game. As the silver lining is that the side of Optasa is going to take the Herald, which is between the two objectives is way more valuable for the side of Revolutionary Magic, but just because it's more valuable for them, it doesn't mean that this is more valuable for the side of Optasa. This is going to be a trade that you don't want to take, but you have to take.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like it a whole lot. I mean, you're right. It's not going to give Bel'Veth as much value as the Rift Herald in terms of passive, but in terms of stats for gaining off the Drake, that's cooldown reduction and attack speed. That is 2 really good stats for Bel'Veth.
Exactly. And I mean, I honestly meant it more for this side of Optasa. If I was Optasa, I mean, I honestly would want both, but you have to settle for the extra gold. And right now, the person they want to give the gold to, which is the Samira, is not doing too hot right now. So you might want to opt to go give it to either your top laner or your Victor. Oh, we see a gank in the top lane too.
Yeah, we got some pings up in the top lane here. Flag and Dragon gonna force out the flash from Billy Willard up in the top lane here.
Okay, but let's see this gank in the bot lane, whether it's successful or not. Sir Jackson taking the long route over to the bot lane. And is going to steal the blue buff now that he saw that Gumbers was in the top lane.
Oh yeah, that's a real good call right there. I love this call from Bel'Veth right here. Picking up the blue buff means not only that you're going to get a whole bunch of stacks for yourself, but it's also catching up in farm to the Jarvan, who stole the blue buff from his own side earlier here. So it's a really good. This is good for twofold. One, because it puts Bel'Veth in the vicinity of the bot lane, and because it puts Bel'Veth a little bit in the lead in terms of CS when she's already ahead in terms of gold already. So this is really good pickup for them. It looks like they might just be resetting around this time.
And I mean, I just want to take a quick look at the gold diff, like the gold charts as we have, and Bel'Veth at the top with 4.6k. That is 1.3 more gold than your opponent. As we see Gumbers put the Herald in the bot lane, not in the best place in my opinion, but let's see how that unfolds. You know, it's gonna be interesting to see. Let's take a look at the bot lane.
I assume that he didn't really have a good place to drop it himself without like completely showing himself in lane. So just dropping it that far back, like when your lane was already shoving, it's not the worst option. But it's definitely not ideal here. They're still able to get a couple plays, but that's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming across. That's going to be the Charm as well. That's going to be the hostile takeover, but here comes Bel'Veth. Good knockup into the Cataclysm. Bally is going to be the first to fall here. Sir Jackson gets the reset. Now Nifty trying to get away. Going to be rooted up. Sir Jackson unstoppable. Going to put themselves at 5-0-1. And now Gumbers in some trouble here. Sir Jackson going forward, gonna get the knockup, dashes forward, gets the double kill. 6-0-1 on the Bel'Veth.
I mean, Hey, I know it's too early to call it, but we were talking that the smallest lead was gonna mean the victory or the defeat of the teams because of the way they scale. They both scale very similarly. If the enemy jungler has 6 kills and a mythic item already on top of your jungler, if they have over 2,000 gold on top of your opponent in less than 15 minutes, it's not looking too good because your team composition, it is late game oriented, but so is Belbeth. And Belbeth is going to be primed up for late game way before your entire team does, and that's not a good thing that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me right here is that the shining light for Off-Dazah here is that they are the only person with the huge sums of gold right now is the Belfast, right? In terms of everyone else, like Samira is keeping up in farm, if not has the better farm in the bot lane and has more gold than the Ashe at this stage, right? So this is really a point where you can stress they just need to be more aggressive without the Bel'Veth there. They need to be more aggressive in that bottom lane because they really need to put the pressure on this bottom lane who's actually fallen behind. We can already see that through the items as well. You know, there's a Immortal Shield Belt already finished for Samira, and there's a couple half items built for Ashe here. So, you know, if Bel'Veth wasn't showing up in the bot lane, I'd be like, hey, let's go. It's time to fight. You know.
Right, but here's the thing about we see unengaged. Here's the thing about the difference in ADCs falling behind. If Samira falls behind, she just becomes like her main point of dealing damage kind of becomes nullified. If Ashe falls behind, she still has great slows. She still has an ultimate that stuns people across the map. She still has her hog vision. There's a lot more utility if you're behind for the champions that are behind right now.
Ooh, yeah. Speaking of that good stun, look at that. Nifty not able to get away the CC. Way too good. Bel'Veth puts another kill onto the scoreboard as now Billy Willard in some trouble. That's going to be Nature's Grass coming across here. Gumbers knocked into the air. Billy Willard still trying to get away, slowed up. Tries to a twisted advance onto Gumbers here.
God.
Gumbers actually taking pretty low here. Might be able to turn it around, but not going to be able to get the kill this time. Gumbers comes out on top.
I mean, if the ult from the Cho'Gath wasn't cooldown, it would have been a totally different picture from Gumbers. And we're seeing two very different pictures for the side of this junglers. Now that the turret plating is gone, look at Sir Jackson. He knows.
Yeah, he knows what's up. Immediately diving in here underneath the turret. Doesn't even matter. Yeah, throw the exhaust on me. See what happens. Gonna be able to grab that for themselves. I think he's going over for the little purple. We're not gonna get the purple. All right, we're not gonna pick up the purple. We're just backing away. Don't need the resets this time. That's still a whole lot of gold. I do like this play from Off-Dazah here, though. This is a really good opportunity for them to just take away as much of the camps from Bel'Veth as possible here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so we see I was very confused. So Gumbers actually disconnected. The power apparently went out. So we're going to see if the power comes back sometime soon. In the meantime, Shikari, let's digest what we've seen so far. Let's take a look at all the items that are on the board. And as we see, we're kind of just painting a very similar picture. We have 4 mythic items versus 3 mythic items right now. We have the Maokai with the I know names. Don't look at me. I know names. Sunfire Aegis onto the top lane, and he's playing the role of the tank. He's the one that needs to be tanky. He doesn't need to build any damage because his kit just gives him a lot of sustainability, a lot of slipperiness, and that's what you want to do when you are a frontline. You have Nico with going a very damage-driven build. I actually like this Leandra's Anguish because you don't need to be the initiator. You have an Astral and you have a Seraphine ultimate. You don't need to go the Proto Build in order to get that extra movement speed to land your ultimate, because you can use it as a follow-up. Then you have the Ashe, which doesn't have the mythic because she's fallen behind against this Samira. But you have the Ashe Arrows, and then you have Seraphine with, Moonstone, and Seraphine's just Seraphine. We don't need to talk about Seraphine. She's just great. And my worry, the reason why I didn't pick Revolution's team is because the reliance on the Belveth was so high. Like honestly, this game depended on Belveth getting off well or not. In contrast of the Sa, as long as Victor went well, as long as Cho'Gath did well, as long as Samira did well, it would be nice. It would be fine. And right now, they're doing, for the lack of a better term, they're doing mediocre. They're not doing bad, but they're not standing out. And that just means that Belbeth just gets to shine a lot brighter. And she's shining a lot with 8 kills.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I totally agree, because, like, there's a lot of utility on the blue side right now, on the on Revolution Reimagined here. And, you know, with Belveth popping off, there's now no more of a question of where this damage is coming from, you know, who is going to be the carry, right? 8-0-1 on the Belveth, you can't dispute that anymore. You know, Sir Jackson has been known to play these kinds of junglers, doesn't have like the most experience on Belveth, but is definitely playing a lot of similar champions to this as well. But I think the big thing for me is that Belveth is the only person with gold on the team right now. And I think that the red team needs to exploit this more. There should be like more folks into this bottom lane trying to get more kills for the Samira. And I think they're just playing a little too scared. And obviously they should be, right? Because, like, you know, this Belveth is 8-0-1, but there are ways to play around it at this stage. You know, that 3,000 gold lead is mostly Belveth, if not like anywhere else, right? You still have really good farm, top, mid, and at your ADC, and, you know, jungle isn't too far behind either. You really need to press where you have your advantages and make sure that you are beating your opponent at where they're their weakest. That's how they get back into this game for sure.
Yeah, like I always like to say, and I like to sound like a broken record, League of Legends is not about the strong. You don't win by your strongest bonds, you lose by your weakest links. So I do agree with you wholeheartedly on that, which I'm going to counterpoint you to. I feel like Optasa is actually doing exactly what you're saying. They see that Belbeth likes to angle a lot more towards the bot lane, so that's why they took the turret. Now, not only Optasa is going to have a better map pressure when it comes to the top side objectives as of now. I mean, just look at it. The Herald is up, and there are 2 players on that side already, and there's no pressure for TP, there's no pressure for wards, because in terms of warding, we have only red cover wards. And then the turret's not there, so now Maokai has to be staying in the bot lane, even though they have only died once, and that's via a counter engaged by Gumbers. They lost a turret, and that's because they focus a lot of their attention. Yeah, they just use a lot of their attention on the top lane. Unfortunately for Valley, I know that Samira is one of those champions that relies a lot on getting ahead early, but Valley just has to take a back seat now. If I was playing, now that I think about it, if I was playing off the Sa, I would send Samira and Renata towards the mid lane and send Victor either top or bot lane. I would actually send Victor bot lane so that you have the Cho'Gath top lane to secure the Herald, and then whichever objective's up, you send the Cho'Gath there, pretty much.
Okay. I mean, I'm definitely in favor of a lane swap, especially at this stage. Like, just make sure that you have your bot lane in a relatively short lane, and then just give the longer lane to whoever just needs to sit back and farm, right? And I think that's just the Cho'Gath, right? Like, it's definitely a fine call, and I don't hate it. But once again, yeah, I think you're right. You don't win by the strongest bonds. You lose by the weakest link, and you know it's hard to say who the quote weakest link on Optasa is right now. But man, if there is one, then Sir Jackson is definitely going to be able to exploit it as well. So we need to keep. I think we need to keep watching how this is going to go. Obviously, we still have to wait for the pause to go through. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like, just being able to get the Samira off the ground might be just the best course of action, just giving them just a little bit more time, maybe sitting back and waiting, because Samira does scale pretty well. So this game going later isn't exactly bad for Off Dazah, right? They still have the Victor, they still have the Cho'Gath, right? And Jarvan is just mostly in this comp to be a Cataclysm bot, right? And just lock people inside that hostile takeover. So it's really just a moment, a waiting game, if you will.
Yeah, it is
As
a
we
waiting
are
game.
also
both...
waiting for this pause to end.
Yeah, and then finally, the one last thing that I want to add is, at least for the Samira, I know that Samira wants to rely a lot on items, but if you know that you're going against a poke comp, at least make your starting item a Doran Shield, or at the very least a Doran's Blade, because you're going to need that sustain. Samira already does damage, and Doran Shield is a busted starting item. I don't know why not. I feel like more people should be taking that item, both in the mid lane and sometimes in the bot lane, especially against poke compositions like the Ashe, like the Seraphine, because you're not going to get into big engages. If you get into a big engage, it's because you're gonna win that big engage.
Yeah.
And starting that longsword, sure. Longsword innately has a lot more damage than the other starting items, and it builds into other items. But you're trading off sustainability. And in a lane where you're gonna get, like, worn down by Ashe and by Seraphine, and the fact that you don't have a sustain support or like an enchanter support, it's just not good. It's Yeah, I mean, I think I said my piece. Right now, we're still waiting for Gumbers to come back. So what I think I'll do is that I'll send it over to a quick break until we come back. Probably that's gonna jinx it as well, you know?
Yeah, sure. We're gonna hop to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming, and we've got some bad news. We've got some bad news for y'all, and that is Off Dazah had to take the forfeit They have lost one of their players to a power outage. And because of that, they can no longer continue the game. So, that first game is going to go over to Revolution Reimagined here. Yeah, hard to say. It would have been winnable with the 4v5. But you know,
Yeah.
we never like to see it. I don't think I want to see a forfeit. I don't think anyone wants to watch a forfeit. I don't think even the players want the forfeit either. It's just a real sad time all around, which means we're gonna have to move into our next round, which means we're probably gonna have Revolution Reimagined and Conduit Kraken for our next game here. Really upsetting all around, but you know, sometimes that's just what happens. It is what it is, as some people like to say. We are going to take just a quick break as we set up the next game for y'all. Thank you all. Sorry for the inconvenience. We'll see y'all at the next game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Comboster, and here we are in the second game of the Gauntlet. If you're joining us for the first time, just a quick reminder, we did have a bit of an unfortunate end to the first game here. Revolution Reimagined did win, however, it was through a forfeit by Off2Zaw after having an unfortunate disconnect. So it looks like they are going to move on through the Gauntlet, and next up we have Conduit Kraken taking on Revolution Reimagined here.
That's right. And Conduit Kraken, I mean, they have a lot to show now because they have a lot to show. Because the last game that we saw with Revolutionary Imagine, there was an 8-0 Belveth that completely took over the game. It's hard for me to say that even if they managed to get their player back, there was going to be any difference, especially because we saw that both teams skilled very similarly, but the players that needed to go online were not ahead enough to go online. So,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, Revolution Reimagined definitely had a very impressive early game here. So who knows? Maybe Conduit Kraken throws a ban towards the Belveth here, or even throws a ban somewhere else. But here we are. We have picks and bans starting off here. But yeah, Belveth taken immediately off the table here. Revolution Reimagined not going to be able to play that one this time around, but Sir Jackson drawing a whole lot of bans might not actually be a bad thing for Revolution Reimagined.
I was gonna say exactly that. I mean, listen, if I pop off with a champion and it forces the opponent team to just go for the ban immediately, I think that's pretty successful. Give me just 1 second. Just keep talking while I swap the teams, because I just realized that Conduit Kraken is the one on the blue side.
Yeah, but this is going to be a pretty interesting match. I mean, Conduit Kraken is also going to have to, use one of their bans to take away the Hecarim from Sir Jackson as well. Sir Jackson is, that's their most played champion by far, 278 games, 60% win rate. That's insane. Not to mention, Hecarim is also just really, really good right now, too. So, Hecarim needs to be taken off the board in one way, shape, or another, and Conduit Kraken here is going to force Revolution Reimagined in order to ban it here. There already have been a couple jungle bans here, but they're going to say, hey, do it right now. Ban it away, because if you don't ban it, we're probably going to pick it first.
I mean, but here's the thing. Ban the Hecarim, they're going to pick Misfortune. Ban Misfortune, they're going to pick the Hecarim. It's kind of a pick your poison situation, And they decide to go for none. They're going to ban the Seraphine, which honestly, not a bad ban. And I think that the reason why this is not a bad ban is just because Seraphine, it's like ketchup. You can put it in a lot of different compositions. But
just don't put it on pasta.
Yeah,
if you put it on pasta, you're banned. You're banned. You're banned forever. You're banned from the Olive Garden. You're banned from Italy, and you're banned from my kitchen. Okay, you're not allowed in my house.
Yeah. But listen, I mean, as we see, Hecarim's still a very strong character, but we already know where he's going. He's going in the jungle. And if there is a character that can... Oh, shoot, they banned him. I was gonna say Trundle's a great counter to Hecarim, but I mean...
Yeah, But I think Revolution Reimagined here definitely are hovering of a good pick as well, and I think pairs really well with the Renata Glask as well, with this kind of like really greedy way that Sir Jackson likes to play. Using the Viego alongside the Renata Glask means that you can have man, I forgot the name of her revive. It's not Handshake, but
Bailout. Bailout.
Yeah, Bailout. With the Bailout plus Viego's passive as well, like, there's a lot of ways that you can play really, really fast and loose on this Viego here. So really, really good combination here. It just means that Viego needs to show up a little bit more in the bottom lane, but honestly, that's not the end of the world.
Here's my conundrum. I'm a person that doesn't like these Feast or Famine jungle champions. I can't really say anything anymore because Sir Jackson proved me wrong with these Feast or Famine champions that do really well when they're ahead. Yep. So I'm just going to not comment on this pick because I'm probably going to be wrong again. But man, Sivaramumu versus Renata Glass Misfortune, that is a bottling. That is a bottling. That's...
Yeah, I mean, if there was ever a time to pick double snowballers, I mean, it's the best of one in the Gauntlet, baby. This is the time, right? This is the time to pick every single snowballer and just be like, you know what? We're gonna get first blood, and then we're gonna win the game. That's how this is going to happen. In Revolution
Jesus
Reimagine,
Christ.
they're putting it all on black, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it. They were like, no. Not only are we putting it all on black, we're putting it all on 23, baby. Let's go.
My goodness. And I mean, speaking of Snowball, we have Sivir, Hecarim. Amumu is just gonna enable Sivir to scale. Misfortune scales, Renata Glass. Again, Renata Glass is just great. And then Viego, of course. My god, this is just gonna be another skill matchup to see. Watch, Pro Draft is gonna have the same curve. They're gonna have the same parabolas, I swear.
Yep.
But as we see the bans coming in, we see a Vex ban, a Zoe ban, a Darius ban, and I think that you probably, as a side of Conduit Kraken, want to ban the Maokai, or just another, or actually the Ornn is a way better ban. Excuse me. Ornn is a great ban, but now that means that Revolution Reimagine can pick the Maokai here, unless you want to pick your mid laner. If I was the one picking, I'll pick the Maokai here or the top laner here, just because there's a lot more top laners to pick blind that are overall better. And also you need
Mordekaiser. This could be interesting. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do like the Mordekaiser. I honestly would have liked a little bit more Tom Kench, or just something just a little bit more aggressive, or something that can help out the Misfortune once we get towards the mid game here.
Okay.
I think the Mordekaiser is still pretty strong.
I have to really like the Mordekaiser pick here. The more I think about it, the better. Because here's the thing. Mordekaiser, who's Mordekaiser's target in this game? Mordekaiser's target is not the Sivir, it's the Hecarim.
Okay.
Mordekaiser is gonna take out the Hecarim, which is not gonna one-shot people anymore because he's more built as a bruiser rather than whatever nightmare he used to be before he got nerfed to the ground. And Mordekaiser, if he comes out with the stats of a Hecarim, if he wins, that's great. And if he doesn't, that's fine because you take the Hecarim out of the fight. Now Anivia's another huge target that you can probably take out just in order to take them out of the fight. But Mordekaiser also brings a lot of AP damage to a team count that doesn't have AP. Right now, you just have to seal the deal with, I'd say, I don't know what champions No Name pick and No Name has, but you just need to pick a lot, something with a lot of utility. Or, yeah, something with utility. Orianna could do great. Just any champion that has pretty good CC. Cassiopeia. Oh my god, this champion is... This is... This is so good. This is so...
I love how excited you are. I love how excited you are.
Ooh, okay. Here's the thing. Cassiopeia has so much AP damage. This is perfect. And you also have the utility. What's your trade-off? You need to know how to play Cassiopeia. So if this person really knows how to play Cassiopeia, I am on it. Especially, Cassiopeia is really good against Anivia, because Cassiopeia has a lot of movement speed, and she does great against champions that don't have a dash per se. I know that's really counterintuitive because she negates dashes, but the slower your opponent is, the easier it is to land your Q and to do your whole BS combo thing, you know? So, I really like this composition.
I mean, this is a really... I like it a lot, too. I think Cassiopeia does really well against Hecarim and Maokai, right? That grounded effect is really good against a lot of these mobility effects. I'm still not a fan of the Mordekaiser, honestly. I think that I would have liked an actual frontline for Revolution Reimagined here. They have so much damage and so much follow-up, but they have no frontline. There's no one who can be in front and just be like, you know what? If I get bandaged tossed, it's fine. You know, I can tank up. I can stand in front of an Anivia Q. I can do this. I can force Sivir away. Right? No one is able to do this for Revolution Reimagined. Whereas Conduit Kraken kind of have like the opposite problem. where they have too much frontline, and they're definitely so much more dependent on Sivir and Anivia getting ahead and popping off in order to have sources of damage on their team. Like, it's going to be really important for Sivir and Anivia to get ahead because they're the only damage sources. There's not really a whole lot of damage afterwards because, like you said, Hecarim used to come through and one-shot people. He doesn't do that anymore, right? That what makes Hecarim OP is the fact that he just doesn't die. He dives into your team, fears them all, and then he's just in the thick of it, just not dying.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, he scales. His damage scales a lot. So, the things follow. Here's the following.
Okay.
Anivia is very counterintuitive to the team composition that you have. Sure, Anivia is a great champion late game. But you have a Mumu that likes to engage. You have Sivir, that her ultimate's literally rallying people up to go into the fray of things. You have Hecarim that runs into the fight, and you have a Maokai that likes to, allows his teammates to get into the fight. Anivia wants the enemy to come to her. To come to her domain where she has the ultimate in all the full scalability. And her Q is great to catch people trying to chase her down. At the end of the day, you have some counter synergy going on. And even though Anivia is a great solid champion, it's not a champion that mixes with the type of composition that you are going for. But enough of that, let's go into our post-draft pro comms to see what it has to say. And wouldn't you know it, we have the same chart.
Not again! The only thing that's different is the game style and is the game styles here, right? Like you said, the engage versus the split comp here, and I definitely agree. The only problem is I don't know if they're actually gonna play the split.
I mean, that's a. Here's the thing. You can play a 4v4, but at the end of the day, if you're playing a 4v4, Anivia has to be out of the fight. Because Anivia, it's not that she's gonna drag your team down, but she's not going to put as much... she's not gonna be of as much value if you want to engage with the team. Anivia's probably gonna be your split pusher, or as I like to call it, your goalie. Anivia can catch the split pusher. That would be the best role for the Anivia right now. Just catch the split pusher, whether that's Mordekaiser, whether that's Cassiopeia or Viego. And then for this side of the red team, 1-3-1 comp is great. Perma laning phase is great for them because Miss Fortune is really good at wave clearing and sieging turrets. Renata is just great in the middle of team fights or to disengage. Cassiopeia is just a great 1v1 laner. And then Mordekaiser, I mean, he is a top laner for a reason. He loves to 1v1. He loves to 1v1 so much that when somebody comes and ganks him, he forces it to make it a 1v1 because he pulls you into Brazil and takes your stats and forces you to 1v1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, an extended laning phase would definitely be really good for the red team. I think the blue team as well. I think Sivir and Anivia are both really good, have an insane wave. I think the best wave clear in the game, in my opinion. Right, between Bouncing Blade and the level 6 Blizzard, like it's really hard to actually get any sort of useful shove against the blue team, against Conduit Kraken. I think that's the big thing of why I said, like, I don't know if they're going to split, and also, like, the reason I said I don't know if they're going to split is because a lot of teams in gold don't actually do the 1-3-1 split, right? If anything, they do the 4-1, right? They'll send 4 people mid and 1 person top, especially if they have teleport, but they won't do the full 1-3-1, right? And so even though this team might be good at split pushing, like, they're probably not going to do that. And then even if they do, there's still Sivir and Anivia, and still, like, Hecarim as well might also be like another target, even though he's going to take a beating, are also good for clearing waves. So it's not really going to be a good time for them if they don't have that Baron buff. However, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 rather, of the Gauntlet, Conduit Kraken versus Revolution Reimagined. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. everyone, welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shin Kari. I'm here joined by Comboster, and here we are on the Rift, game number 2 of the big old Gauntlet. Here we are.
Oh no.
And we've got an invade. Billy Willard is in for a bad time. Okay, immediate flash. Okay, not gonna risk it. Not even gonna take a single time.
Good.
Absolutely not.
Good. You should flash.
Billy Willard is out of there. If you're joining us for the first time, Conduit Kraken is on the blue side, and Revolution De-Evolution is on the Revolution Reimagined is on the red side. So here we are. These two teams are raring to go. We do have some real good synergy in the bot lane, by the way, because Amumu is a teapot and Sivir is on her Cafe Cutie skin. So that's some synergy if I've ever seen one.
Exactly. And I mean, listen, I was saying in the champ select for Revolution to be the one that for Revolution Reimagined to be the one that does the engage. But honestly, Amumu has such a good engage that I'm not even mad. I'm impressed that it almost worked. So that was really good for them. Also, another side comment. I know that for 5-pointing, you're supposed to send in the trap bush as the top laner. But I just feel like if you stand outside in the river, you're in a much better chance to not have to flash away. And champions usually don't like to take the long way. And if they do, you can always just move back after a certain time. But that's enough of me talking about 5-pointing versus full engage. I just want to see this game go on because both of these team compositions are absolute bangers, as I like to call them.
Yeah, I mean, this is immediate with the level 2 yips going in immediately. Banks taking real low here. Meek is trying to fight him off here. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Billy Willard wasting no time fighting Squig as well. So we've got some action on both ends of the map, and this is exactly what we were hoping for. Yeah, here comes Vlada as well into the mid lane. Not gonna be able to find anything just yet. Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of fighting across the map.
And I mean, you kind of have to. We both talked about how Revolution has it's not that they can, they have to get ahead early. They don't want to fall behind against champions that is scale as much as Sivir does, as much as Anivia does. And you have to capitalize when both of these parties are at their weakest. Cassiopeia does better in the later game, but they definitely do a solid job in the mid lane early against an Anivia.
Yeah, especially because they just have such good consistent damage. They're one of the few and might be one of the only mages that have like good consistent damage, rivals of that with AD carries. That's why you see Cassiopeia players take Conqueror, because it's so easy for them to proc with spamming the Twin Fangs, right? So it's really just a good
take a look at this top lane.
A lot of mages are not used to it here, but here comes, speaking of not used to it, not ready for it, here comes Billy Willard, but that's going to be Sir Jackson coming in from the side as well. Doesn't really have a whole lot of resources to really go here, but they're going to stave off Galeta this time around, make it a wash up at the top lane.
And I don't know if they thought about this, but it's really smart for Sir Jackson to be in the top lane because they know that the side of, you know, Kraken knows that Billy Willard has no flash, therefore he's more susceptible to these ganks. So this is a spectacular counter gank. And speaking of counter ganks, it seems like the tables are going to turn with Sir Jackson.
We do see Hecarim kind of hovering around that mid lane there. I'm a little surprised that Sir Jackson didn't decide to go directly into the river and go towards the Scuttle Crab there. I mean, they have some cryo in the mid lane. They had advantage with Billy Willard immediately walking down, but they're gonna wait no time. They're looking for Galeta right now and use that speed up, trying to get away. Dashes around the stun right here. The wall's gonna keep them away for just a little bit. Flashing forward. That's gonna be first blood being picked up by No Name here. Sir Jackson now looking for Merciful Crow, trying to get behind him. Not gonna be able to do it this time, but the Hop is gonna be able to get them away. That's why we get it. That's the first blood right there. No Name coming out huge and going to be a support, going to be an assist over to Sir Jackson this time around.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that re-engage from the Hecarim. I know that Hecarim can be a tanky character, but that's usually after you have 1 or 2 items, and especially not when you're ganking in level 4, and you're just standing in a pit for Cassiopeia to go to town to you. She will very gladly take that flash. She will very gladly take that first blood. I mean, she has a lost chapter already. She doesn't have to leave the mid lane anymore.
Yeah. This is a lost chapter and a tier. Might as well be the equivalent of that of the ARAM item that just gives you a bunch of missing mana regeneration. Like, it's just so good. Cassiopeia is going to be able to sit in that lane forever now.
Forever.
It's just
yeah,
gonna be,
forever.
Yeah, really hard for Inivi to deal with as well. Might be a little bit better once she hits level 6, but Cassiopeia really, really tough. Once again, a lot of consistent damage. There's not a moment when Cassiopeia can't try to burst.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going back into now that okay, we haven't engaged
Wait a minute,
in the bot lane
is in some
again.
trouble. Already used that cleanse. Good handshake is going to stun up Yipsy here. Going to throw out the second bandage test. Not going to be able to do it. Important to note, Ignite was used by Yipsy there onto Spanx, so it's going to be just a little bit more before they have that tool available for them.
And very underrated fact about Cleanse is that Cleanse not only gets rid of CC, but it also gets rid of negative statuses. So if your opponent ignites you, and you can just cleanse it, and then you have your heal or whatever type of I guess, yeah, you're just not taking damage over time. It's just really good to use cleanse, not only for stuns, but for situations where you are exhausted or situations where you are ignited.
Yeah. Really, really good use. And not to mention, it's really good against the team as well. Between Squig, Merciful Crow, and Yipsy, there's a whole lot of CC that you're going to need to cleanse off. And, you know, I'm a big fan of this. And, you know, it's a little cheeky, but I saw it a long time ago at a Worlds where, like, there was a Graves who had started popping off. And instead of going into more damage, he just had cleanse. He got a Quicksilver Sash, and he got an Edge of Night, just making him completely immune to whatever CC they could throw at him. So,
yeah,
honestly, Revless Spanx. Oh, wait, hold on. No name before I get into the meme. Oh, great Cassiopeia ultimate here. Sir Jackson's not going to be able to help them, but I don't think they need it. Okay, he hops over the wall with the Heartbreaker, going to be able to get it. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Mordekaiser's pulled them into the Shadow Realm, looking to try to get Squig. Is not close enough to get to the turret, but they're not going to be able to find the Star Chips this time. Yamino Gemu is not going to come out on top, but that's a real good pickup for Sir Jackson. Now, they're on the Drake.
Dude, Sir Jackson is an absolutely amazing jungler. I mean, that's... It's difficult for... It's difficult enough for Viego to start getting a lead, but he already has 2 kills and took over the dragon. The one saving grace for Glada is that Hecarim is one of those champions that you can be behind or you can be ahead and you're still gonna do solid. So I'm not too worried about the side of Conduit Kraken just yet. Because their team at the end of the day skills. But you also have to be careful. You have to be aware of Sir Jackson now. He has 2 kills, he has the Sheen, he's going for that Divine Sunder, I think. At least that's what I hope he builds, right? What else do you go as, Diego?
There's not a lot of other options. I mean, like, there's an argument for, like, Kraken Slayer, but, like, because, like, if Blade the Rune King is good on Viego, then Kraken Slayer is good on Viego as well. But, like, just being able to weave auto attacks in between your spells means that you're getting a lot more DPS out of the Divine Sunderer than you are out of the Kraken Slayer.
Exactly, and yeah, I think that Divine Sunder is just going to be great. It gives you a little bit more sustain in the fights, it gives you a little bit of health back, and then on top of that, it doesn't matter whichever champion you steal, you're still going to press abilities. You want to press as many abilities as possible, as a matter of fact, which is a great synergy with the Divine Sunder, as we said.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we also see Sir Jackson wasting no time for these neutral objectives. The direct-to-camera doesn't really like it a whole lot, but Viego already on top of that Rift Herald as well. Like, they're wasting no time making sure that they have dominance across the map here. Going to pick it up for themselves as well. Like, this is a really, really good start for Revolution here. Really, really good job.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a pattern now of Sir Jackson just kind of taking over the jungle and then empowering all of his teammates in order to do good. It's kind of funny because most of the time you usually think of the best player in a team composition to either be the mid laner or the ADC. But when the strongest player in your team is the jungler, that's when things get scary.
Yeah. Especially because, like, the best thing about a jungler being, you know, your best player is that he's able to spread that kind of love around the map. Like, that's kind of the big thing, right? They're really good at being able to secure neutral objectives. They're really good at being able to gank multiple lanes, and that's a really good strong point of having a jungler as a strong point here. Is Billy Willard forced to flash away? Does have it's Yami no Gemu here. Pulls Glada into the Shadow Realm here, but has to live through the damages. Doesn't have the shield back up just quite yet, and Glada is going to be the one sending them to the Seal of Orichalcos. Going to be able to send them and sacrifice them to the Great Leviathan. There it goes. Billy Willard not going to be able to win this Shadow game.
Very interesting to... I mean, at the end of the day, I think that Billy Willard was just a little bit too ahead. But in terms of positioning, he was just way too forward. You're playing against a Maokai that's very slippery, that has good knockback, that has a lot of roots. And you know that the opponent's playing Hecarim. You might just want to play a little bit more towards, you know, the mid side. Might want to force the Maokai to play more aggressive, because look at it now. He doesn't have TP, he's going to lose a lot of CS, and now Squig is going to get a lot more advantage, and he's only going to get tanker from here.
Yeah. For sure, as now this is just looking really tough. Glada doesn't really have a good into this bottom lane here with the waves so far pushed up here. He's gonna have to return to the jungle here, and Sir Jackson not really gonna have a good time in that lane either, but definitely gonna have a good time ganking this bottom lane here. His brother Hedge actually gets him out here. That's a real good slow. Brother Hedge is in some trouble. The spell shield is gonna save them for just a little bit. Misses them by just a smidge, but now they're stunned underneath turret here. Good hostile takeover here is going to make him survive just a little bit longer, but Sir Jackson dies just as Misfortune gives him the assist, so he's not going to be able to live this time. It's a 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Both junglers go down.
That's right, and the one that takes a kill is the Amumu. Not where you want to see it, but I mean, it's still a kill nonetheless, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, KS does stand for kill secured. But you know, if it's on an Amumu, I don't think I'm too bent out of shape about it. I think you're about right here. I think that's really good. I think it's a good person to have the items on, because the faster that he can get an Evan Shroud means that that's a whole lot more damage that his team can be doing to certain targets. Here's Billy Willard going to fight Squid here. The rest of the team coming in. That's going to be Nature's Grasp coming across here. Those vines are going to get a lot faster now. Now Billy Willard once again in some trouble here. That's going to be the Miasma as he pulls Merciful Crow into the Shadow Realm. Here we go. Yami no Gemu. Merciful Crow trying to get away, but only has so much room to work with. But pulling Billy Willard into the rest of the team here. He finally leaves the Shadow Realm, and Yipsy once again going to pick up another kill for themselves over around the mid lane here. Another kill goes on the scoreboard for the Kraken Conduit.
I'm not liking the Amumu taking all these kills. Also, another dragon goes for the side of Revolution. They have a Cloud Drake and an Ocean Drake, and say what you want about the Cloud Drake, but movement speed is really, really useful for these players. I mean, you have Cassiopeia that loves the movement speed. You have Diego that wants to roam around the map. You have Mordekaiser that wants to get close. All of these champions love movement speed, and even though it's not going to be 2 or 3 stacks, this is still going to be a lot.
I mean, I'm still a proprietor of the Cloud Drake is the best individual Drake you can get, because it means that Cloud Drake isn't the soul.
Yeah.
I'm still going to say that, like, movement speed, sure, great, but it's out of combat movement speed. So it's not really, like, it'll be helpful for maybe Sir Jackson, but that's really about it. It's No Name, oh my god, laying in the damage on the Merciful Crow here, taking him incredibly low, forcing out the flash here, is now in the bottom lane. Banks is in some trouble. Great Curse of the Sad Mummy here. The hostile takeover is not going to be able to give them this time. That's going to be the damage coming across, almost able to get that revive for themselves. Now Mikish is in some trouble. Glada is taken underneath the turret here, and they're going to take a whole lot of damage, but no one goes down. It's 2-0 down in the bottom lane in favor of Conduit Kraken.
I don't want to be a stickler again. But Amumu just got
Okay.
another kill. And Hecarim got the other kill. So we have
Okay.
a Sivir that has 4 assists but 0 kills. I mean,
Okay.
Misfortune has more gold by a little bit, but still has more gold than the Sivir. Meanwhile, Amumu is creeping very close to them.
Yeah. I think Squig is able to get out of that in the top lane here. Sir Jackson shows up in the top lane here, but we're going to get a little bit more time before the next Rift Herald spawns here. Sir Jackson going to reset after a full clear of their jungle. We're probably going to see just a little bit. He's probably going to show up back in that top half of the map because that is the only real big neutral objective for him to grab right now. No Name also going to spot out Gipsy in the mid lane, as that might give opportunity for Lispanks just to shove down the bot lane down.
That's right. And I mean, Gipsy really has to go back into the bot lane soon, because if the bot lane manages to get the first turret, it enables the side of Revolution Reimagine to kind of just go online. Just go online with the split pushing, the 1-3-1, or the, you know, the 4-1 composition, as we were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I say Revolution Reimagine, I just realized that this is not the Revolution Reimagined logo. This is the sister team.
That's fine. But yeah, this is definitely looking pretty strong for Revolution here. I mean, they've gotten such a decent start here. Even though they're down in kills, they're still up in gold right now. And, you know, they've had some pretty big successes. And I think the big thing is mostly just Glada just being like, okay, where's Sir Jackson at? Okay, let's be not there and let's kill him. And that's what's been able to get them into this game. But I think you've hit the nail on the head that this Sivir would be a lot farther ahead had these kills been going on a Sivir. But now, Curse of the Sad Mummy comes across. Mikish in some trouble. That's going to be the exhaust onto Brother Hedge here, as Lispanks, once again, trying to get that revive. Not going to be able to do it. And Mumu picks up another kill for themselves. But this time, Brother Hedge is going to be the one to get a kill, as they go 2-0 down to the bottom lane one more time.
And now finally, it's the Sivir that gets the kill.
Yep.
Now, we're getting the mythics going on. And... oh, never mind. I'm gonna let you take
the onslaught of shadows onto the mid lane here. Good Cassiopeia ultimate is going to squeak away from them, but that's just enough time that they need for Merciful Crow to sweep in and pick up that kill in the mid lane. Squig going to be able to grab that for themselves. Is now Billy Willard looking for something here, trying to grab something and to avenge their friend's death. But this is going to be the lead that Conduit Kraken was looking for here. They're now pretty solidly in the lead, 1.3 thousand gold. It's going to be a good sitting point for them because they've been ahead even while they were down in gold.
That's right, and it's I still have really high hopes for this Viego. Don't get me wrong, he's taken 3 neutral objectives already, going most likely for the 4th. But this next dragon is Soul Point. The side of Kraken wants to defend this objective, and this is where Anivia shines. And this is the perfect moment for Anivia to be a part of the team fight while having an engaged team
Squig
fight.
is and the rest of the team. Look at where Sir Jackson is right now. He's on the dragon. The rest of the team is coming up to support him now. Lada's going to have to get in here and try to get that smite steal because they are already on top of it. Wards around the corner. Here we go. Lispanks is a little bit out of position here. There goes a Mumu into the wall. Good stun on the Sir Jackson, but they're able to secure the dragon here. Billy Willard is going to pull Glada into the Shadow Realm here, so it's a 4v4. Squig dies on the Sir Jackson here, taken incredibly low, has to run away. Meanwhile, Mordekaiser still looking for Glada here outside the Shadow Realm, but Lispanks once again is caught out, and Gipsy is unstoppable. That's another kill for them, as that's going to be Nature's Grasp coming across. They're still looking for the Cassiopeia, not going to be able to find him this time, as this time Viego gets away just by a hair. They're only able to find 1 kill, but they lose the Drake.
Okay, and this is gonna be a mountain Drake. Honestly, getting tanky is definitely not bad in the terms of this team composition, where you don't really have a front line that's gonna stick around for too long. Especially, speaking of sticking around,
yeah, No Name's in some trouble here. So is Sir Jackson, who just came back to lane, trying to give them the old 1-2. Actually giving them a bit of time As here comes the hostile takeover here. Clayton might be, not fast enough to hit Squig here, but the rest of the team looking to get through. That's going to be the Shirelia's battle song being popped, but they can't quite get onto Squig, who's real low HP. So they find another kill for themselves and are able to get away like bandits. And this is the thing that's keeping them in the game as well. Even though the red team has such good neutral objective control, the kills just keep going over to Conduit Kraken.
That's right. I had a little bit of a pause. I don't know if you had one too, but I'm at 20, 45 seconds.
50, 51, 52.
No, slow down a little
53,
bit.
54. Okay, I'm going to pause at 55.
Okay.
56, 57, 58, 59,
a little bit more.
21. Oh, it's not pausing. Hold on. 21:05, pause. 21:05.
On pause. 6, 7, 8. There was a little bit of a desync, ladies and gentlemen, but we are good to go now.
I had to turn the lights on in Space Mountain for a little bit there. Sorry about that, folks.
But we are good to go still. Now, here's the thing. Hecarim is going for the Eclipse build, which means that he's going to deal a little bit more damage and he's going to be a little bit more scary. Especially against a no frontline composition. It's gonna come down to who dies first on this side of the enemy. On this side of Kraken.
Yep.
Because no one's dying. That's the thing. No one's dying, and that's not what Viego wants. Viego wants at least one kill, because if at least one person drops, that's the perfect time for them to go online.
Ooh. Spanx, once again, I feel like the Spanx has been caught out so many times this game. So many times eating those bandage tosses. Now it's either, and I don't know how much of it is Yipsy just being like, oh, look at this, or the Spanx just being too far forward. And, you know, it has been just happening over and over again of just misfortune just being hit by those bandage tosses. So really that has to change real quick if they want to be successful in this game, because those bullet times are going to be really, really important.
Oh,
now, 22 and a half minutes in, we're still looking at a lead for the blue team.
That's right. And I mean, this is the point in the game where this has just become a handshake top lane. Maokai is not gonna be strong enough. I mean, Maokai never has kill pressure, but then also Maokai is going to be so tanky that he's not gonna die to a 1v1 against Billy. I think this is the perfect time to swap lanes, and as we see, the bot lane is going into the mid lane, and the enemy is just gonna stay bot because they lost the turret. You know where the minions are gonna go.
Yep. Yeah, and I think this is a really good place for Anivia to be, right? Like just throwing them in the bot lane. Just let them shove every single wave, and you know, just let Anivia just kind of chill, because no pun intended. Because they don't really need to be in this short lane, right? I think that's just the best time for them to be right now. Is now. Yeah, this is just a real good time for them to be as we continue. This,
yeah, I think we know what's going on here. This is the perfect time to reset for both teams. This dragon is so point for the side of Reimagine, and you have to go for this dragon. Getting a dragon this early into the... You can't really trade. That's the advantage of getting all the dragons. Baron's up. But as Kraken, you're not in a position to trade a dragon for a Baron. I'd even argue that you could trade a dragon for a Baron if you were the side of Kraken.
Yeah, forcing the flash here away from Cassiopeia is going to be very important for this upcoming team fight. The dragon has spawned. Billy Willard maybe a little bit too far forward. Let's see, that's going to be making rain. Yipsy throws at the first bandage toss, but that's going to pull it into the shadow realm here. That's going to be Nature's Grass coming across. Cassiopeia ultimate as well. This hostile takeover is not really going to give them enough space to work with. Here's Spanx flashes backwards, but Shadow's onslaught is going to dive past them first. Look at these red HP bars disappearing. Blue team, one after another. Double kill for the Sivir now. Another kill for the Hecarim, and Mikish is the only member left alive. As now, they get to push onto the Drake, deny them the Earth Soul, and pick up the first Earth Drake for themselves here as they cement their lead at 3 and 0.6 thousand gold. They can even march their way over to Baron if they want.
I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, Revolutionary Magic just lost 4 people. You can take a turret on the way to, and you have a Nivea and Sivir. You have the damage to shred this Baron. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. Also, something very important to talk about. That Misfortunal got cancelled immediately by the Hecarim ultimate. And the thing is that I feel like Revolutionary Magic didn't really have a focus on the fight. They didn't really focus down one player. You saw the Cassiopeia focusing the Anivia. You saw Billy Willard ulting the Mumu. And then you saw Sir Jackson trying to 1v1 the Hecarim. And then by the time his Fortune and the Renata started going into the team fight, I mean, they were all super low and Hecarim just popped them both because he's just that far ahead.
Yeah. As now we're starting to see the effects of this now. Look at Billy Willard cannot even tank these Baron up minions now. And now together with this Baron buff and with this strong push that they have with Anivia, Sivir, even the Maokai doing a good job of splitting as well, they're able to shove down these waves really, really hard here. And it's really going to come up to how they're able to play this. Billy Willard can't even 1v1 Squig in the top lane as a Mordekaiser.
No, he cannot. And now 3 turrets have fallen in total. As we see the Baron play lead, we have a 2300 gold just effective thanks to this Baron. Are we going to see a 3rd turret? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to see another turret, it's probably going to be up in this top lane here. Squig is doing a real good job of protecting these cannon minions. He's just playing the line of scrimmage, and that's all he needs in order to take down that turret. That turret is now nearly gone, and it's all thanks to the additional range you get from that Baron buff. That's sometimes all you need, right? As long as you can defend these cannon minions, you are good to go, right? That top lane turret is now down, and that's another turret to fall with this Baron buff on.
Not only that, I mean, look at all the pressure they have in both lanes. When this next dragon spawns, the ones that are going to be there first, just by sheer force of just map advantage, is Kraken. Especially if you're going to have super minions raining down to your base.
Yeah. There's going to be super minions in the mid wave, and I want to take a look at this bottom lane really quickly. You can start seeing a wave of minions just slowly amassing down there. They're going to start crashing towards that bottom turret, and if it pushes slow enough, they might actually have another turret to rotate to if they win this fight underneath the turret. But here comes Squig, is taken incredibly low into the fold, into the Shadow Realm here. Billy Willard is going to get some stats here. This might be the turnaround that they're looking for. Hostile takeover comes across, but it's not going to land onto anyone. Sir Jackson, huge! Curse of the Sad Mummy. Bullet Time is going to come out as a response here, and that's going to be the from Viego here, as now he's become Hecarim, diving on a Gifty here. That's going to be the Heartbreaker. He's going to be able to find another shutdown onto Amumu. Sir Jackson now looking for the Sivir, forcing them to flash over the wall. They've defended the base for as long as they can. 3 kills for nothing, and now they get to be able to re-establish their defense, save up as much as their base as they can, shove these minions out. What a huge win!
What a win indeed. A little bit of, I just realized there's a little bit of counter synergy with the Mordekaiser just taking somebody out of the fight just because Dave Diego is not able to get their corpse, take over their corpse in order to fight us alongside them. But as we saw, one less player for these team fights means so much. I will admit that Glada, for the lack of a better term, kind of ran it down through that ult from the Misfortune. I don't know how often that's going to happen, but that definitely turned the tides around.
As now we take stock of where we're at, nearly 30 minutes into this game. 6,000, a little less than 6,000 gold separates these two teams now. And yeah, this is going to be another really important fight. Once again, we're still on Soul Point for the red team here, but they're looking for the man advantage. There's going to be that Curse of the Sad Mummy again. Nature's Grass coming across through the river as well. Going to be able to find the first kill on the Billy Willard here, and Glada looking for the revenge here. Meekish trying to kite them off the Cassiopeia as much as they can. Conqueror's proc, and they're still trying to backwards. Meanwhile, on the backside there, Misfortune is trying to fight off Maokai here, and No Name is finally able to get away. Viego's finally joined in the fight. Sir Jackson looking for someone here. Glada is really low. They might be able to burst them down if they're careful with how they approach this. Heartbreaker comes across. They're going to be able to find the first kill onto Hecarim here. Can they turn it around? They're looking for Merciful Crow. They're going to go golden. Heartbreaker comes across. They're driving on the Brother Hedge now. It's 4v1. Sir Jackson trying to live, but Brother Hedge is going to shut down that king, as now they go to take down the second Mountain Drake of the game and deny Soul one more time.
Oh, and that's not good. It's not fun to see the opponent team stacking up for Mountain Drakes at all, especially because you're just gonna get so tanky. Diego's not gonna have fun trying to get a kill on this opponents. But as we see in the gold graph, we see that actually the player with the most gold is the Cassiopeia, and that's just going to be a combination of the kills that they've gotten plus this super solid farm, out farming the ADC of their own team as well. And it's showing. I mean, Cassiopeia is becoming a threat right now. Later into the game, Cassiopeia just deals a lot more damage, becomes a lot more slippery, and for every level that she gets a lot more movement speed. By the end of the game, she's gonna have more movement speed than people with full boots.
Yeah, and that's kind of the big thing, right? Cassiopeia, the reason she scales so well is because she doesn't need to buy boots, right? She can't buy boots, right? And that's kind of the big thing. She doesn't waste, you know, in quotes, an item slot on the movement speed, right? She doesn't need those boots, so she can have, while everyone else is buying their tier 2 boots, she's already finishing up her second item or even using that gold to finish up a mythic. So she's really, really strong, and because she has that extra slot, she's going to be a lot stronger than some of these other champions later into the game.
And if I was Revolution, I would give all the gold to the Cassiopeia. Right now, she's finishing up a death cap, and that's what you want to see.
I think that's greedy. I think that's 100% not necessary. I think that they should be going for the Zhonya's. There's so much burst on the enemy team, and that's how quick that they've been taking you down a lot of the time. And you've been the focus. If you can go golden in some of these fights after if you ult and you're able to deal some damage, and they start to turn around on you, being able to go golden and just kind of reset yourself sometimes is really, really good against a team that's using Shadow's Onslaught or just sometimes a bunch of CCs. Oh, Yipsy taken so low here, below half HP, and even tanking up some turret damage as well. That's going to be the Sorelia's Battle Song popped, but I don't think they're able to find any sort of good engagement just yet. I think they're just trying to scare Yipsy away. Don't think they see the reset here from Yipsy, so we get resets from two people here, from the Viego and the Misfortune. These have to be huge buys if they're backing now. Okay, Maw of Malmortius and the Phantom Dancer. Okay, these are two big. These are
pretty good buys.
Pretty big items here.
Those are two pretty big items. I might argue, but that gives a chance for the side of Kraken to gain a position advantage in this objective.
Maw of Malmortius once again playing into that Sir Jackson fast and loose kind of style of playing. Go in, unga bunga as hard as you can, and if you come out with a kill, they're definitely not going to be able to stop you now. Yipsy back in the fight. We still have these two line of scrimmage back and forth around this Baron pit. Still, no one wanting to give away any sort of information or looking for anything, because this is the time of the match where one thing out of position could cost the whole game.
Yeah, I think Billy's out of position right now.
Yeah, Billy Willer. Oh. So tough. It's a nail biter. You can't really be the one to choke here.
And and this is why I didn't really mind the Shurelaya's Battle Song to be popped in that situation, because it's such a low cooldown item. I mean, it's already up, so you can technically use it whenever and out. Oh.
Flash Bandage Toss doesn't land, but that's going to be the second Bandage Toss here. Billy Willard is in some trouble here. That's going to be the hostile takeover, giving them a little bit more time, but Billy Willard has pulled Squig into the Shadow Realm here, but he's so low on HP, as that's going to be the burst damage from the blue team here. Glada can't be stopped. Hecarim coming through, going to be able to stop them, as now they're going for the next one. Double kill for the Sivir here, flashing over the wall. Merciful Crow, stun, damage, and Nivea picks up the ace, and now they don't even need to go for the Baron. They're going for the Nexus, and they're moving on, and the Gauntlet Conduit Kraken comes out huge.
Oh my goodness. You know what? This Hecarim should have been banned. I was wrong. Hecarim is still a broken character, but to be fair, I think that the reason why they won was not because of the Hecarim. I think it was because they just were really solid in the team fights. Their team composition really helped them in the end. That's the best way that I can just put it. They were just a very solid team.
Yeah, they played real well, and honestly, I would I think this is a bit of an upset here. I think Revolution Reimagined really had some good gameplay coming into this, and I think they had solid team comps in both games. And I thought they were really poised to win this, but Conduit Kraken shut them down immediately. And such a good play by Conduit Kraken here, as yeah, wow, incredible. The 9,000 gold lead to end up the game as well. This is a really good game by them.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else. There's a lot more to add. I would say that I still hard agree that definitely the best player on the side of Revolution Reimagined is their jungler, because I mean, in the early stages of the game, he got ahead, and a bunch of, you know, emergency signals were just firing off in my head of like, he's getting ahead, you guys gotta be careful. This is going to be a tough match to win if you let this Viego get ahead. Unfortunately for them, they kept it together. Hecarim kept ganking the top lane. Mordekaiser was just a little bit too aggressive, and they capitalized on it to have the Maokai get ahead. The Sivir, she's a late game champion, she scales. Anivia, she's a late game champion, she scales. This.
Yeah.
And this just an example again of what I keep saying. No matter how strong your jungler is going to be, if the other team just has a more solid foundation and they're able to make less mistakes, less openings, it doesn't matter if you get 3 dragons super early in the game. If you don't get the 4th dragon because the last team fight is not going your way, because even though you're fed, you can't kill anyone, and that's the win condition for your champion, then there's nothing that you can do.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have the final match of the Gold Astral Gauntlet. Conduit Kraken is taking on NSG Amethyst. And we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have picks and bans for that game. Don't go anywhere. This is the exciting conclusion to the Gauntlet. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Comboster, and here we are in your final game of the Gauntlet. Conduit Kraken is up against NSG Amethyst. Now, before we even started the Gauntlet here, we both got predictions from Comboster and I. We both predicted NSG Amethyst were going to come out on top of this whole Gauntlet here. We've seen it time and time again, but we are ready to be proven wrong. Conduit Kraken here comes out after a really stellar victory over Revolution Reimagined in their previous game here, and so now they're raring to go. The last best of one of the evening is here, and now we're ready. Comboster, are you ready?
I am ready. I mean, listen, Conduit Kraken showed that they are an incredible team. Don't get me wrong. They have really good team composition. They know how to pick their draft well. They know what works best in their team composition. They know how to work team fights well as well. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is that they know how to play from behind. Not many teams know how to do that. And the fact that they're... Yeah. So, I definitely want to see how they fare against NSG Amethyst. Still, I do believe that they are my favorites to win it all. At the end of the day, they are the top seed in here. But we will see. Especially because Conduit Kraken, again, have the blue side. NSG Amethyst decided to go for the red side. They might want to go for the counter pick city. Might leave Trundle open for that counter, just to counter the Hecarim, because Hecarim is just that strong of a character. Or who knows, they might just ban Hecarim outright. Because at the end of the day, I said that he didn't one-shot people, but by the end of the game, they were one-shotting people. That horse was just running and trampling over the poor Misfortune and the poor Renata Glask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really came down to Revolution Reimagined just not having a solid front line to deal with, the lethality that Hecarim was just able to build pretty easily here. Is now NSG Amethyst here. Now they're the ire of Conduit Kraken here. Once again, banning away the Lux, gonna take away the Amumu from Ipsy this time around. And Akshan, Yumi, and Gangplank are going to be banned away from Conduit Kraken. But once again, they've got the horse.
Yeah, but now you can now Trundle's open. And Trundle is a great counter to Hecarim because he takes away the stats, he takes away the team fight, just pressure. And on top of that, you can just pillar him, you can slow him down. Trundle will be a great pick here. It's a great B1. Or you might even save it for later, so that you can see if they are going to pick, let's say, another tanky champion and then solidify that counter pick Trundle. Because Trundle's not great when you blind pick him, he's great for counter picking.
Yeah. I do actually like, I do agree with you that I think Trundle is good into Hecarim as well. Just having the Chomp to lower the AD and to be able to match his healing means that you will be able to out-trade him a whole lot. And then once again, Trundle is good into matchups where people don't have a lot of mobility, but they are going to go with the Viego. Interesting. NSG said, yo, Sir Jackson, I think you got the right idea, but I think we're just better than you. So they're going to pick up the Viego as a big disrespect, as Tristana Seraphine are going to be locked in for Conduit Kraken.
I'm speechless right now. Let me check the patch notes real quick. Like, is there something I'm not seeing right now? Like, is Viego didn't get buffed? What's going on? Somebody please explain.
Yeah, I mean, maybe their jungler just isn't comfortable on Trundle, but Rom pick here could be pretty useful against the Tristana Seraphine bottom lane here, and does kind of nullify a lot of other options in the mid lane as well, so definitely going to be a good option here. It's going to ban away the Anivia as well. NSG Amethyst really does not want Conduit Kraken to have that same comp as they did in the previous game here. Maybe a little too reactionary, but definitely going to be able to take some powerful picks off the board for Conduit Kraken here. They still have one ban left. I struggle to think of what they're banning away. I expect another mid ban. The top laner, there could be a top lane focus ban, but the Maokai already off the table. I would expect another. Okay, Darius is going to be taken off the table.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think the Braum is a really good pick into Tristana Seraphine. First of all, Seraphine, Braum just cancels the ult. It doesn't matter if he gets charmed for a little bit, as long as the rest of the team doesn't get charmed. And then Tristana, she's an AD based champion. Whoever she puts the bomb on someone, Braum is just gonna get in the way of that. So as long as the only target truly is Braum to put the bomb in, and that's the last target you really want to put that thing on.
Yeah.
It also discourages the what the heck?
No way. No way. Okay. They must be going for some sort of cheese here. They must be going for some sort of cheese. Either that or that's a top lane Viego. I have no idea. Well, we have an Alistar hover on the other side, so this could be a Tristana Alistar lane in the bot lane and Seraphine going mid. In which case, this Braum is going to be in a bit of trouble here because he can't exactly block Alistar. Yep, that's going to be the lock-in here, which means the top lane is going to be Mordekaiser. Which means now, what's happening with this Ivern? What's happening with this Viego?
Listen, I know I'm supposed to be the color caster, bro. I don't know. Like, look at me. Look, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. How am I supposed to analyze this? And then you have an Adir. You have 3 junglers on this side of NSG Amethyst.
Yeah, I have no clue what's happening either. Yeah, they're ready for game. They're locking it in. There's no All right, so we got some spicy picks here. Here's my opinion. I think Viego is going to farm the red jungle, and Udyr and Ivern are going to run through the blue team's jungle. And they're going to kill Hecarim every single time they see him. That's what I think. Either that, or they have no mid laner, Viego farms their jungle, and Ivern tries to steal as many camps away from Hecarim as possible, and Udyr goes top lane.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's my gripe with this team composition.
All right.
You have no AP. Like, Ivern is not gonna deal in. I guess Udyr is AP and Ivern is AP, but they're not your main damage dealers. Sure, Udyr with Phoenix can start shredding a lot of HP, but okay, God, Jesus Christ, you guys are not seeing this right now, but it is gonna be Udyr top, Viego jungle, so I guess Ivern's just gonna go mid.
Yeah. Yeah, this is certainly interesting. Yeah, so we have Udyr in the top lane. This makes sense. Udyr has been showing himself into the top lane recently. Viego is going into the jungle. That also makes sense. It's just what this Ivern is doing. Because this Ivern is not lane. There's no way this Ivern is going. Right? Because Ivern just doesn't lane as well. He doesn't get full benefit from his passive. Unless he's going to be like, oh hey, I'm going to sit mid lane, and then I'm going to leave, and I'm going to grab some camps, and then I'm going to come back.
This is what I'll say. Ivern has to bring Ultimate Spellbook to make this composition work. You have to bring Ultimate Spellbook so they have another summoner ready, and so they can bring Smite into the lane so that you can immediately get those buffs. You can immediately steal those buffs. That's the best way that I can see this. And for the first time, thanks to the Pro Comps post-draft screen, we see that this is not a one-to-one comparison. We see that the red team apparently has a better early game. I personally highly doubt that you have a Tristana Alistar bot lane, which is honestly very aggro in the early game, and you have Mordekaiser. But it is true that they like to scale later into the game more. Both teams are going for a protect split composition, But as we see, one of them wants to engage more, and the other one likes to split push a little bit more. It's tough for me to say just because NSG Amethyst is going such an unorthodox composition, and you know, more power to them. That's exactly what I said at the beginning of the stream, that best of ones is the time where you bring this unorthodox comps that the opponent team doesn't really know how to deal with, because it's a one-off.
Yeah, like you said, if you throw them a curveball, there's not enough time for them to react. It's just giving you that straight one moment for them to answer. It really comes down to how this Ivern is going to play. I think that's really going to be the big question mark here. What is this Ivern doing, right? Are they going to be inside the enemy jungle the entire time? Are they actually going to be laning? Are they going to be moving around with Viega, right? There's a lot of possible things that could be happening with this Ivern right now that we don't possibly know the big answers to. I think that's the big question mark. And without that, we have Seraphine like in her own lane, and if Ivern is leaving to just kind of counter jungle Hecarim, then that's just a really good lane for Seraphine. I mean, she's a support that can't really duel people early and is just looking to stack tier and get their mythic and then finish their tier item before they actually start fighting. This is a great lane.
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
The best thing that they should do right now is have Brother Hedge go mid lane and have the Seraphine go ADC. Just lane swap. Tristana is a super aggressive mid laner. We've seen that before. She might not be as strong as she used to be, but she's definitely going to be a problem for the Ivern. I think that even if the players don't swap the character, and as we say they didn't, but I feel like Brother Hedge, if he goes mid lane in this situation, he would get ahead, but more importantly, he will get the Ivern behind. Because Tristana loves to shove the wave, she loves to duel early, she's very squishy, but Ivern doesn't do damage. So this would be like my one crazy way to counteract this insane pick.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of the final game of the Gauntlet. NSG Amethyst versus Conduit Kraken. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Gauntlet. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. Welcome back to NSG Amethyst versus Conduit Kraken. Here we are on the rift. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Comboster, and here we are, the last game, and we've got something spicy. Rendleman breaking out the mid lane Ivern, gonna show us something one or two, gonna show us a thing or two as they are already doing something to invade this Hecarim here. They've already got 3 people to do so. And man, this is a spicy comp. Comboster, are you ready?
You know, I thought I was ready because I thought that Ivern was gonna go ultimate. I mean, yeah, hidden spellbook or whatever name it is. I almost called it ultimate spellbook, but that's not the right game mode. But you know, the spellbook room, just because you want to go, I imagine that you want to go that extra summoner spell to rotate through that smite in order to steal those camps. But it seems like the game plan for this side of Energy Amethyst is a completely different one that from what I had in mind.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a curveball, something we haven't seen, I don't think ever. I don't think this is something I haven't seen ever. So this is going to be, you know, Rendleman showing us, you know, something spicy and ready to go here. I think this is, they've already got both of the buffs here warded up for the red team here, as Bubba Gum's wasting no time fighting Squig in the top lane here. Look at all that damage. It's kind of even back and forth, and Squig is going to be able to get that favorable trade, especially after that Mace Slam.
Yeah, that's the thing about Udyr and just his epitome of melee champions, that you can technically win the trade, but once you start walking back, if the opponent just has the range advantage on you, they can just make the trade even by hitting you on your way out.
Yeah. Now Rendleman showing off the Ivern here. I'm so curious as to what, like, if they're gonna go like another support, like, are they gonna be dealing damage? Like, I'm so confused as Squig once again taking so much damage from Bubba Gums up in the top lane here, who I think is might be going Phoenix first. I'm not sure.
I mean, Phoenix first is definitely not bad, especially if your team needs that source of AP damage. You definitely need that source of AP damage, and you don't have to worry too much about being tanky because you have a Braum already. And as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Rendleman decides to go a Moonstone in this situation, just because you can afford to go Moonstone in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Moonstone wouldn't be too far-fetched here. A lot of folks do like doing double enchanters. Yeah, it's just a bunch of question marks, you know? I mean, we do know what Iverns tend to build, but, you know, this is still like a solo lane Ivern. He's being pretty aggressive. Like, who knows how Rendleman decides to play this champion. So,
well, you can afford to be aggressive.
We'll see more.
Yeah, I mean, you can afford to be aggressive, especially when you're playing against a Seraphine mid lane. So I'm not surprised that he's playing aggressively here. Also, you can't really be playing double enchanter because Ivern technically is the only enchanter. Otherwise, you only have the Braum, which is a great tank.
Right. Double support is what I really meant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Ooh, we see Rendleman. Oh, that's also really interesting. Something that I just noticed. But before that, Bubblegums.
Yeah, Bubblegums looking for Squig one more time here. Really wasting no time. Trying to be as aggressive as possible early on here. Whole lot of healing for the Udyr up in this top lane that Squig probably wasn't ready for here.
Well, I wouldn't say heal because, as you can see, he actually popped the teleport, so it was just a great teleport timing
yeah.
for the Udyr to just go back to lane, come back in, nice swap in and out, and that little bit of health from that crystal might be what he needs in order to start winning these trades.
He has now. Let's see. Yeah, once again, I think we're really gonna have to cast our. Oh my god, he's.
Yeah, you saw the Dark Seal.
Yeah, he got a Dark Seal. Huh. Yeah, okay. We got ourselves a Dark Seal, and Ivern teleporting back to the mid lane here.
I mean, Dark Seal doesn't do the improved healing, right? No, they took that away. Okay, good.
Yeah. That's it. He's looking for all that AP here. As Gipsy found out Sad Lantern has to use that dash in order to get away. Rendleman has shown up a little bit late to the party, so it might look like the Dragon is going to be the first. The Ocean Drake here is going to be first for the blue team here if the red team doesn't decide to answer.
I don't think they should. I think that even though Ocean Drake is a pretty good dragon, you can afford to lose it. You have enough sustain and enough utility with the Ivern, like we said, and Udyr just has a really good innate healing. You don't need the Ocean Drake. You don't need this first Drake.
Yeah, but it's all right. That's going to secure it right there. Glada secures it for the team here. going to put Ocean Drake in the pockets. Cloud Drake is going to be the next Drake available for them. So now we get the little bit of a reset here.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that the game has become a little bit slow right now because Saber wants to get online. Tristana can't really engage with the Braum, even though they have Alistar. I would have liked them to be a little bit more aggressive, but I understand why they wouldn't be aggressive in this situation. And then, you know, it's Ivern. You're not gonna one-shot the Seraphine, and Seraphine can't really one-shot an Ivern.
Yeah.
Now, as we see, for the items, everything's pretty normal. Nobody has enough lead to go into a mythic item, but I see a 1v1 into the top lane.
Yeah, Squig has pulled Bubblegums into the Shadow Realm here, so he's going to have to do his time kiting as best he can here, because he's in a bit of trouble, because the second he leaves, there comes Glada. Sad Lantern is also in some trouble as well. Squig does a whole lot of damage. Bubblegums and Sad Lantern can't fight both the Horse and the Hecarim, or both the Horse and the Mordekaiser here, as now Squig might look for something here. They're underneath the tower, but Glada is making their way around. All right, looks like they're out of there.
Oh, as we see an engage.
Good headbutt pulverize combo, looking for maybe the stun afterwards, but Yipsy not able to follow through, and now they're looking to turn it around. There's a whole lot of burst damage coming through. That's Ignite as well, flashing forward, looking for the last bit of damage. Ignite is going to be the one taking him down. First blood goes over to Gotheem on the Braum.
My goodness, and I mean, that's what we were saying about the engage. Like, you engage in a Braum, and now he has 2 stacks of stun on you. And Saber is one of those champions that loves to shred through armor. She has a lot of ways to cancel her auto attacks, to add those auto attacks, and the Ignite was just perfect in order to deny any chance of survival, especially when your ADC is not running heal. Don't get me wrong, heal right now, sure, exhaust is a lot better, but if your opponents know that you don't have heal, then those engages become just way more dire.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be certainly an interesting time, as now we continue looking out for the rest of the map here. This mid lane is going a lot more even than we expected here. It looks like Ivern is having a bit of an easier time, but it's interesting that we're not really seeing Ivern kind of go out to the rest of the map and try to steal away camps. That's one of the big reasons why people pick Ivern, is kind of like a second jungler, being able to walk to some of these camps, use his passive, and steal away from the enemy jungler. But if we mouse over some of the camps from the blue side here, Ivern really not going to any of those camps anywhere, just sticking to this mid lane pretty solid.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised why. I wouldn't want to try to steal a camp from the Hecarim, especially because Hecarim is just that much of a scary champion. So I'm fine with Ivern not trying to steal a camp right now.
Yeah, it's just more of like, I'm surprised that there's not more vision into the enemy jungle, and like being able to make opportunities for him to do that. Now Squig in some trouble. Pulls Bubblegums into the Shadow Realm here. Sad Lantern now tanking up the Rift Herald heroes. Rendelman comes in as well. So Onslaught of Shadows comes across. Good charm from the Seraphine coming across here, as now all these red HP bars are really low, but Daisy is going to keep them alive for just a little bit longer here. Good knockup as Glada chases a little too far. Sad Lantern now gets the reset here, looking for a little bit more. As Squig looking for Bubblegums, goes onto the Blast Cone, doesn't go over the wall though, gets a shield from his friend. Good root. Gonna keep Squig away for a little bit longer, as that's going to be a 1-for-0 at the end of that over on this top half of the map, but this does still give Blue the opportunity to go and grab this Rift Herald if they're looking for it. Meanwhile, bot lane, Brother Hedge looking for Photography Raptor here, but still able to return the damage after that good exhaust.
I hate to say this, if it wasn't for the Ivern, that Viego would have died.
Yes.
And I think this Ivern is doing the job of a Karma mid.
Yep.
Of a Karma top. This is just a very solid character.
I'm once again, I'm just surprised if anything. Oh, Brother Hedge is in some trouble. That's going to proc the passive, and kill goes over to Photography Raptor. they're going to be able to put themselves on the scoreboard finally, give themselves a kill over the Sivir. Now as Squig is in some trouble, going to be slowed up inside the big tornado there. Now Squig taken real low here. Sad Lantern looking for a little bit more. Good follow-up stun coming through. Sad Lantern picks up a kill on the Squig here. Puts themselves on the scoreboard one more time and a kill apiece across nearly everyone on the red team.
That's right. And then I mean, it's incredible. There's nothing else that I can add other than the fact that Sad Lantern's playing great. Now Viego's ahead. Now Viego's getting kills and able to get a lot more kill pressure. Udyr is just great at having those follow-ups for your jungler. He has the CC and he has the slow. And now we see that they're going to trade objectives right now. Kraken going to opt for the side of the dragon again. And meanwhile, Amethyst is going to go for the Herald. What do you think about this trade?
I think this is a fine trade. The only problem is that you kind of consign yourself to having to go and contest these Drakes every single time they spawn now. The big advantage you get when you have both Drakes to start is that now there's a lot more pressure on the dragon, and in some cases, if you have an advantage over your opponent, you can just trade them for Baron. So whether or not they look to really go for that advantage will yet to be seen. But Bubblegums from the top lane up against Squig here does not have the damage to keep contending with. Squig still looking for the fight, not in the Shadow Realm anymore, but Bubblegums is doing a good job of trying to kite them as best they can, but it's not going to be able to take it away. Squig once again gets themselves the first kill for the team up in the top lane.
Oh my god, you're right. That was the first kill.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, let's just take a quick look at the gold graphs to see what the gold has to say. And we see Photography Raptor with the highest lead. I mean, they're winning in CS, they're winning in kills, and right now we don't have enough time to digest the situation because...
Yeah. Glacial Fissure comes across. Yipsy's going to be stunned up thanks to the concussive blows as Glada dives right in. The Braum shield is a little bit in the wrong direction here as Glada's going to be able to pick up one kill. Brother Hedge is going to hop out of the fight, but they might have needed to hop just a little bit forward in order to help out with these remaining kills, but they're just going to take that one onto the Ruined King and get out of there A-okay.
And he is not done. He's still staying in the bush. He wants a little bit... He just wants more. He wants to go for disengage again. He doesn't have ultimate. So I doubt that this engage is actually gonna go as planned.
Yeah. I'll have to see. It looks like they're finally backing away now.
I just realized he has 3 long swords. Hecarim has 3 long swords. He just wants damage.
Yeah. I mean, that's for Muramana and also the Eclipse, yeah?
Yeah.
There's a lot of long swords in that build. Sad Lantern shows up, gonna pick up that blue buff for themselves. Ivern's gonna pop along and grab some blue candy for themselves as well. As this is kind of the other thing is why you pick Ivern, right? You're able to get multiple buffs for your own team. Right now there's 2 blue buffs across the red team. And this is really good. I'm just you know, once again, I just wish Rendleman had that they were a little bit more aggressive with their warding in the early game, and that instead of Viego had locked in something like Xin Zhao or Kha'Zix or something that's doesn't need to full clear their own jungle and can just invade the enemy, throw out some vision, and then allow Ivern to just kind of steal camps from the enemy.
So, Ivern Rengar. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's also funny in of itself because you get to make bushes for Rengar to jump out of.
But okay, that's stupid. I'm sorry, but the fact that Ivern doesn't have to be in the map in order to make the double buffs happen is absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I knew
it's one of his charm points.
If I knew this before, I would have agreed more with the Ivern pick mid. I would be honest with you. I thought Ivern had to be the one to do it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it's not as much of a curveball as we thought it was, right? We're still, it's if anything, it's just kind of like, oh, he's just in the lane, right? And I mean, it's a goofy pick, but it's a lot less of a curveball than we thought it was going to be, in my opinion.
I mean, it's not goofy. He has the, he already finished his mythic item. He has double buffs alongside his jungler, and right now we're seeing that the Viego is running away right now because, I mean, he has to.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, hey,
Oh,
this is. Oh, wait a minute. Glada coming into looking for Photography Raptor here, forcing the flash away, but still looking to try to knock him into the enemy team. That's going to be Onslaught of Shadows coming through, but they're stunned up.
God.
That's a whole lot of damage for Photography Raptor. Good ultimate coming across from Seraphine, but they're not going to be able to stop the onslaught that is this Sivir. They're able to stick onto thanks to that passive here. Throws out the Boomerang Blade, still fighting, but Yipsy is still in the corner to still have that combo ready to turn it around. Photographer Raptor has to be careful here. A good spell shield going to be able to turn it around here. Once again, Yipsy's still pretty low, but they now have a teleport coming in.
Oh,
double
double
teleport.
teleport.
Make that. As now Udyr is showing up as well. Squig is showing up into the bot lane here. And with those two members dead, they're making their way over to the Dragon.
I'm seeing a deja vu moment right now. It feels like, sure, Conduit Kraken individually, they have very solid champions with their Hecarim, with their Mordekaiser, but you're getting the objectives or the whole team composition, and as a team, Amethyst is doing just a lot better.
Yep. It's now, once again, Squig versus Bubba Gumps, a tale as old as time, and one we've seen a million times as well. Red team secures the dragon. Is now Glada, once again stunned up by the concussive blows, is not tanking enough to survive all that damage. As now Sad Lantern diving onto Brother Hedge here, gonna use that Heartbreaker, diving in, gonna be able to pick up that Tristana. Let's see, rocket jump over the wall, looking for Squig here, taken real low. Gonna use that Heartbreaker in order to get away here. Squig still pretty healthy, coming back into the fight, having to flash away one more time. Squig taking real low. Bubba Gums picks up the kill there, finally getting revenge from that top lane here as that Lantern becomes Mordekaiser now, and now there's 4 members of the blue team dead. NGS Amethyst comes out huge one more time after picking up the first Infernal Drake.
That Lantern just heals everything up because Mordekaiser, this is insane.
Yeah, now Yipsy's in some trouble. They spent way too long here. Sad Lantern might be able to grab them before they leave, but a good pulverized combo. The headbutt is going to be able to get them away from any sort of danger this time around.
And I mean, Ivern has 6 stacks on a Dark Seal. That's 6 more stacks that you should have on an Ivern, but I digress. And look, Viego's going for the Borg first item, which is honestly really good. It sucks up a lot of your opponent's movement speed and stats as well. It deals so much damage. And you're going for those 3-hit combos that Viego's very known for. He's going tank Viego.
Yep.
Right?
He's got, I don't hate it, right? It's basically taking the Diana build and just building Blade of the Rune King instead of Nashor's Tooth. So it's not something we haven't seen before. I think this is a perfectly fine build. It has a good amount of CC to start getting that burn and then a good amount of attack speed as well.
I love this because you have the damage with the Sivir, and you have the support with the Ivern, and then Viego just gets to do whatever he wants now.
Now we have the fight here coming across. That's going to be a good Seraphine ultimate coming across the team here. Glada once again taken up real low, immediately taken down. Squig is pulling Sad Lantern into the Shadow Realm here, but now they're outside trying to turn it around. Heartbreaker not able to finish the kill, but double kill for Sivir off the camera there as they're able to find a 3rd kill for themselves. 3 for 0 in this team fight. This Moonstone on the Ivern is doing so much work, keeping these HP bars so healthy, and now they're able to push with Daisy and Shelly as well. There's going to be so much damage to the red team base, to the blue team base.
I was gonna say, the silver lining is that Merciful Crow actually was the one that stole the Herald. How? I'm not sure, but as you can see, the Hecarim's the one with the Herald, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if the red team got the Herald, it would have been very close to GG, if not GG.
Yeah. Still able to pick up another turret for themselves, cementing a nearly 6,000 gold lead as well. This is an NGS Amethyst that's looking really, really strong coming into this 20-minute mark here. Now that we're hitting close to the end game.
Okay, there is a 3k gold lead between ADCs.
Yep.
And if you look at the gold graph, the top 4 players are NSG Amethyst players, and the worst one is the Braum, which is the support player, so you don't really care about that. This is not a good place to be in.
No, it is not. When the support has more gold than your whole team, then you have to be then you definitely have to worry. And this is kind of why the lethality build is really risky on the Hecarim here. We can already kind of see it coming through to fruition here. Glada is not able to handle all of this damage. Look at Bubba Gumps. Bubba Gumps has been behind this whole time, and look at how much damage Glada has already taken and taking from Rendleman right now as Squig is slowly going to leave the Shadow Realm right here. Now Photography Raptor is here. Squig is taken real low. Photography Raptor once again is godlike and going to be able to pick up another kill in this game. And now, not even Shelly is going to be able to do her job. Is flashing forward. Photography Raptor gets a double kill, and now they're just like, yeah, let's Baron. Why not? 21 minutes. They don't have a jungler. They don't have a top laner. What are they gonna do? Nothing. They ain't gonna do. They ain't gonna do anything.
They can't do anything.
I was this close to getting fine. I was this close.
Yeah,
Not this time. Baron Nash are secured by the red team.
I mean, now you're gonna get the Baron. Now you can go for a Dragon if you want, but you don't need to go that. You have perfect wave clear with the Sivir. You have the Braum. You have the support from the Ivern. You can walk anywhere you want, and then just take the lane. Just push bottom
honestly,
lane.
I think that they should just have Sivir split in this bottom lane. There's already a good waves pushing down there, but they're a little slow to the party. Hecarim is there first, but good. Okay, they're gonna go for the death rush here. Squig taken down. Sad Lantern gonna become Mordekaiser as this game continues to snowball out of control. 8,000 gold in the lead, 22 minutes in. It's rough as they pick up now the second Infernal Drake of the game. I don't even know if Dragon Soul is even going to be on the table for this game. 32 minutes? I don't think so.
Yay, more damage. Exactly what you want.
Yeah, I don't think Soul is going to happen. But here we go. Bubba Gums right onto Glada right here. Braum jumps in. Great Glacial Fissure going to knock out Glada here. Flash forward from Soul Lantern. Going to find up that stun there. Soul Lantern now becomes Hecarim. Looking for the charge. Going to force Merciful Crow to flash. Their Squig still dead. Glada just respawning. And now we're getting a reset from the red team. A little interesting. But you know what? They probably have a lot of important items to buy.
Like Iceborne Gauntlet.
And a long sword.
No. He finished the item. He finished his.
Okay.
Item.
I was gonna get very upset. I was be like, but what's happening? What is going on? Is everyone okay? You had Baron buff. Why are we leaving?
No. This is great. Now you can just you can just take down top lane. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Shinkari. They haven't dropped a
Yes.
single turret.
Yeah, they haven't.
This is not good.
Yeah, I mean, Ivern also, I'm surprised he hasn't turned into a Medjai's. I'm surprised he hasn't turned it into a Medjai's.
I mean, Ardent Sensor is really good right now, so I wouldn't mind having it. I'm just gonna check how much gold he has 300 gold. He spent that last little bit of gold for the Ardent Sensor. You definitely want to empower your homies.
Yeah, empower the homies. Here we go. Daisy gonna tank up that turret there. Auto waiting in the wings, but that's gonna be Yipsy stunned up one more time. Glacial Fissure gonna stun them up as well. Charmed up by that Seraphine ultimate. God, he was in some trouble now as Glada has to run for their lives. The flank was not successful. Squig now diving in, trying to turn this into a 1-for-1 with 1v1 with Photography Raptor, but you are trapped in there with them. They're not trapped in here with you. And now they're able to continue this push. They still have this Baron buff, so they still have that cannoned up minion. Is now they're making their way over to the mid lane here. Real good wave here to grab this turret, grab this inhibitor as well. And now Glada here to defend, but I don't think they have a whole lot to work with here.
Yeah, like, you can't really do anything. You can't defend. You don't have the damage of the wave clear. Tristana has kind of needs to get a little bit close, and you can't afford to get close against so many engages that you can go up against. You don't. You
now
just
with
don't have the
inhibitors
range.
down in 2 lanes, this now gives a whole lot of prio into this jungle position. If they choose a reset here, this is a really good opportunity for them. Just kind of go ahead, grab some jungle camps here, reset, and start to maybe prep for a Drake. I mean, it's up in 2 minutes, but I would probably assume that they're gonna try to look for the spot lane.
I mean, if you're all going to, if you group as 5, there's no way you can lose. That's the best way that I can put it. Because if your main fear is getting Seraphine ulted or Hecarim ulted, then you have Braum. Then you have Ivern. Then you have Braum again.
Yeah?
Braum is just really good at disengaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out when your ultimate is a skill shot that knocks people into the air and then leaves a slow field behind, it leaves pretty good for disengage.
Yeah.
Turns out. Yeah. Who'd have thought?
Which, side note, it really impresses me the amount of people that try to use it as an engage tool, even though it's literally the worst engage tool in the game.
Yes. But the thing is, if you don't engage as Braum, the team flames you for not engaging because they think you're an engaged.
Yes, of course.
The old paradox. You're not an engaged champ, but the team will flame you for not engaging. I remember getting into an argument with someone that Garen isn't a tank. I was just like, yeah, he's a bruiser. He doesn't do tank things. He doesn't have CC. They're like, haha, lol, you're dumb. I'm like, okay. Next time I'm in trouble, peel for me. See what happens. Yeah, see what Garen peel looks like.
Do you feel the stun? Oh wait.
Yeah. Let me get that Q stun. Oh wait. Here we are underneath the turret. We're gonna start the do-si do. We're gonna start the game of chicken. It's like, hey, you can come contest us underneath your turret, but sooner or later you're gonna have to answer those super minions that are coming into your base.
And I mean, and if they're able to answer, they just get a dragon for free. There's not really that much of a point, but you know, I mean, it's more lead for you, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it does put them on soul point, just in case they don't win. I guess I don't know. I think it's extraneous. I agree with you. It's there's no reason for them to be at this Drake right now. Like they could be pushing the base, and they could be almost winning the game, but they're deciding to go in for the Drake here, which
now this
isn't
Baron.
bad.
Now this Baron,
We're
though.
like, yeah, no, I guess. I don't know. I feel like we could have been making more aggressive moves towards ending the game by this stage, as opposed to like, oh, we're gonna get Dragon and then Baron.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, Baron will definitely make a change because then you empower the minions, then they're tougher to kill.
Yeah, no worries. But like, I feel like there was a good 65% that they could have taken, but then they were like, nah, let's get the 100% and delay this game a little bit longer. I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say. Why would I say anything?
What, the Magi's?
Why are you backing?
Well,
Why are you resetting?
you need the Magi's.
You have waves.
You want to go the
waves
Magi's,
that are pushing
man.
in your favor. You're already halfway through the map. What are you
But the
backing
Magi's.
for?
Shinkari, the Magi's.
Yeah, you already had the Magi's.
But the
He
Magi's.
already had it. He's had it in the He's had it since they were pushing in the top lane. What are we doing now? Viego's getting Gromp? Oh boy. Oh, Viego's getting Gromp. Wonderful. Gotta make sure you get that Gromp. Important.
You gotta heal up after going back to base, you know? No, but jokes aside.
Yeah.
But jokes aside, I mean, they wanted the carrying TW. You can't blame them for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, they're just gonna full throttle the bot lane. And
Yep.
I mean, there's no analysis to this. They're just gonna raw power it.
Yep. They're up 12,000 gold. They've got the Baron buff. There's really not as much contention as they hope for here. Squig is the biggest member of their team, but he really can't step forward. And now they've lost their final inhibitor, which means that the next wave that spawns is going to be double super minions now. As now they're going to shove in the waves from the other lanes as well and make sure that they are able to put the stranglehold on the enemy team. Here we go.
That's
I think
right.
they might actually miss the next minion spawn, so they won't get the double supers. But here's the fight. Squig already taken pretty low here. Not able to use that ultimate as much as they'd like. Glada drops onto the back line here, but not going to be able to stop anyone either. As now, that's going to be the next target here. Yipsy taken down, CC'd for an eternity. Merciful Crow going to be slapped silly by that Udyr, taken down by the Sivir as well. As you have your Gauntlet champions, the NSG Amethyst. Here they come, here they go. Where did you come from? Where did you go? NSG Amethyst, Cotton Eye Joe.
And just like that, I'll be honest with you guys. I was afraid because I was 0 for 2 in my predictions. So the fact that I bet for NSG Amethyst kind of put me afraid that I was gonna go 0-3. Thankfully, that did not happen. But, well, thankfully for me, you know, my reputation as an analyst was on the line at that point. But also, man, it was insane game to watch. amazing job from both players, but I gotta commend NSG Amethyst. They didn't let me down when I said that they were gonna be a spicy comp. They were gonna be they were the favorites to win for a reason, and this is why. Their team composition was solid. I still saw a very good team fight and really good synergy for this side of Kraken, but it was one of those games that, even though we didn't catch it at the time, it was lost in draft pick.
Yeah. It was definitely an interesting pick, and I think NSG Amethyst here really pulled out the biggest curveball of the whole match, right? And I think that was the biggest reason why, at least one of the reasons why they were able to get ahead. I mean, holy moly. I mean, Rendelman did a great job, and he did a curveball that the other team wasn't expecting, and the Moonstone Renewer did so much work, but holy moly, Photography Raptor popped off this game.
13-0-9.
13-0-9.
Look at the damage traps.
Impressive CS ratio.
Look at the damage
Did
traps.
not waste a single bit of DPS. 29,337 damage. The next highest damage was Udyr on 14,000. He was nearly 15,000 DPS difference between Sivir and Udyr, the two top DPSs in that game. Holy moly. Photography Raptor, I hope you're buying this guy like a pizza. I hope you're buying this guy like you are just praising, just kissing the ground that he walks on, because that is a really star player that's going to help you out in the playoffs.
That's right. Unfortunately for the playoffs, they most likely won't be able to get a pick like this, a composition like this, just because, like I said, this feels like a very best of one composition. But other than that, great job for everybody. Everybody did amazing. Again, thank you so much for Zero Gravity Gaming. This league is fantastic. Can't wait to see more of these games, especially after we go into what I like to call the big leagues, to see all these contestants. Can't wait to see more of NSG Amethyst on the games, and I can't wait to see the other teams that we saw in the Gauntlet play in the next season of Zero Gravity Gaming. But without further ado, Shinkari, thank you so much for commentating with me, because sometimes I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, for sure. But from everyone else here, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, press that follow button. We've got League of Legends action for you to watch nearly every single day. And if you're feeling generous, press that subscribe button. It's currently September. Those are 20% off. Really helps us keep the lights on here at Zero Gravity Gaming. But from myself, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already noticed, we have a sponsor for this season, and it's called ProComps. You've shown it a few times on stream this evening. ProComps is a first-of-its-kind drafting tool aimed for competitive and solo queue play. ProComps allows the user live feedback and analysis on drafting, giving them recommendations on picks, notes on matchups, and analysis on the enemy team's win conditions. These features allow the user to gain an edge on their opponent and improve their drafting skills. Use code ZGG for 50% off the first 3 months of ProComps. They also help us a whole lot out in our casts as well. So if you like what you see here with ProComps, make sure you go over there and use code ZGG for 50% off your first 3 months. But my name's Shinkari. That's Combustor. We're out for this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.